Let's go live. So, hello and welcome to Horror Talk.
We need
This
all
is
this.
this is the show where we talk about guess what? Horror.
What?
Monster
Shit.
movies, slasher movies, video nasties, as they called them in England during the 80s.
The film de bar.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out where that echo was coming in my head. It was coming from my own computer. All right. So,
What's in your head?
got an echo in your head. I don't know. Is that a song? It could be. All right. Tonight.
This very evening.
This very evening, and starting now, in fact, we
At
will
this
be
very
talking. Yes,
Hey,
if
come on!
not the
I
next.
had to join in. Come on.
The three-way. No,
That's what we are.
we are going to talk
Triangle,
zombies,
bitch.
zombie movies, zombies in TV, zombies in comic books. We're going to be talking zombies, horror, and zombies. And
Yes.
tonight we're going to have a special guest if he can get his tail in here. Adam Post from College of the Dead. He is a creator of a second book in a horror comic series featuring zombies and college girls, and that should be enough. And then we also have our regulars tonight. We have, of course, Brian Krischkow. Everybody wave.
What up,
Brian,
everybody?
as he can see you wave.
You say Chris Gow or Chris Gow?
It's Chris Cow.
Chris Gow.
Yeah, but you can call me Chris Gann, Chris Gall, Chris Canoe. I've
I'll
heard.
call
I've
you
heard it all.
Brian.
Brian's fine too. Brian's fine too. I wish my parents had given me like a cooler, like more ethnic first name. You know, like Wolfgang. Wolfgang Christgau.
Wolfgang.
Instead, it's like Brian.
Wolfgang.
Okay, well,
That's okay, but it's also a name that's often used in French, so it's bilingual.
well, that's true. That's true.
Mhm.
And you know, it's you know, I just think it would have been, you know, more bitchin'. You know, girls could call me Wolfie and everything, but whatever.
Yeah. You can't all be called Simon.
And I could change my name, but all my friends would be like, "Hey, what's up, Wolfgang?"
You know, my older son's name's Logan.
No shit. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, if I was to pick a name for myself, I probably would have picked Victor just because it means winner. You know what I mean?
That's a good one.
I like mine.
Yeah, no, Simon's great. Nothing wrong with it.
Okay, and so as far as Simon, we have Simon Sim Portier,
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
and I'm just laughing because everything that's been going on lately with all the simp talk. I just think it's so funny that Simon's last name starts with a P. So if you go Sim P, it just happens to read as simp. I just think that's hilarious. Just
Boy, all kinds of mayhem going on right now in
Yeah,
Comics Gate
definitely
because of that. That's
just because
Anna's
of the
Vampirella.
the Vampirella cover has created quite a bit of controversy.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's well. You see, that's
I'm just
good.
joking. I'm just being
Okay.
sarcastic.
Okay. That's right. You weren't you on War Campaign yesterday? They're all up in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Well,
up all night working and
We're
eating
definitely not
popcorn.
interested. We're definitely not interested in capitalizing on that or
No.
digging into it because
No.
that is not what any of us are about.
No.
Nope.
Drama bad. No moss.
Yeah, no. For people that need a summary, Anna, that Star Wars girl, has a cover, a comic book cover on crowdfunding that's doing pretty good. Being crowdfunded by Dynamite. She just did the cover work, and a lot of people aren't happy with the situation for one reason or another. That is not my problem. It's not anybody else's problem. That is just totally their thing. It is what it is. And I wish everybody the best of luck with their endeavors. So that's
Yeah.
just awesome. So if she
Word.
And
if she, if she-
consumers will express their opinion or
Yeah.
And nobody's
good or
gonna
bad.
nobody's
if I
gonna-
had it, if I
anybody's
had an
bad.
opportunity to capitalize on something, I would capitalize on. They asked me to draw a cover, I'd draw one, and I can't draw. So
Exactly. And Dynamite's been very good to CG creators. So, let's not forget that.
well, let's move on now.
Yes, it's zombies.
Indeed.
Zombies.
So I know Brian here is dying to tell us about his favorite zombie hero from his favorite zombie movie that we have even previewed in an earlier episode. So go ahead, Brian. Let it roll.
Oh, you're talking about Dwayne Jones as Ben from Night of the Living Dead?
Of course I am.
King of the zombie killers, man. King of the zombie killers. But first, before I talk about Night of the Living Dead, let's talk a little bit about the history of the zombie.
Okay.
Zombies, of course, originate from Haiti. And the zombie is traditionally a walking corpse that's used as a slave. Now, Wade Davis, who wrote The Serpent and the Rainbow, which was a nonfiction book, which was turned into a very fictitious movie by Wes Craven, and a highly entertaining one at that, discovered that basically the zombie formula is a type of poison that comes from a poisonous pufferfish with a bunch of other stuff mixed up in there. And what they would do was they would drug people with this, and they would bury them underground, and they would suffer maybe some brain damage or something from lack of oxygen. Then they would exhume them before they were dead, and then they'd be, walking around, and they would tell them, "Look, you are a zombie now." And like,
hold that thought, Brian, as we welcome.
I am a zombie now too.
We welcome to the show Adam Post.
Adam Post.
Hail.
Well,
the
welcome.
creator of College of the Dead and College of the Dead Graduation Day, which is now live on Indiegogo.
CollegeoftheDead.com. Raising hell.
Yeah, doing very well. And then tonight is Zombie Night, so we no better creator than to have the king of the Comicsgate zombie books.
Well, at least for now. There are new guys in town. I just had him on a stream myself. Ronnie Hayes and Observant Jim doing a book called what the F is it? Kingdom something. I'm tired.
Is it a zombie book?
It's a zombie book, man. It's a horror book. Yeah, you guys are going to definitely be connecting. Does anybody remember? I mean, it was minutes ago. Literally minutes ago. Kingdom something. I don't know what it was, but I'll find the link. I was just talking. No, they didn't launch. They have a pre-launch, but I'll give you the link.
Oh yeah, please. I mean, this is a Comicsgate show. We're all about promoting indie creators.
And it's horror. It's also horror.
If they have zombies, it's zombie night. So
zombie night and the feeling's right.
Can I just finish my real
please
history of the zombie? Okay. All right, so flash forward to 1968. George Romero is a TV commercial director out of Pittsburgh. He runs a company called the Latent Image, and they decide, like, hey, we're shooting like these pretty cool TV commercials, which is to say, there were pretty elaborate. Like, they did one TV commercial that was like a spoof of Fantastic Voyage. Where a little miniaturized ship is like put into like a man's bloodstream and it's like traveling through his body, right? And so they were like, hey, like, we should actually try and make an actual movie. Well, if they're going to make a movie, well, then they should make a horror movie, they figured, because they'd be guaranteed a return on their investment. Because that way they could at least make a couple of bucks through the drive-in movie circuit. So George Romero and his friend, John Russo, went and stole the plot from a Richard Matheson novel called I Am Legend, which is about a world that is overtaken by vampires. And they turned the vampires into something else. They turned them into walking corpses that devour the flesh of the living. They're not called zombies in Night of the Living Dead. They're referred to as ghouls. So, of course, that's just a benchmark moment in horror, and that is the origin of the zombie as we know it right now in popular culture. Fast forward to 1978, I believe it was, and Dario Argento produced a sequel to Night of the Living Dead that was written and directed by Romero called Dawn of the Dead. That's the first time that the zombies are referred to as zombies. Because one of the characters, Peter, who's played by Ken Foray, who's like one of the greatest zombie killers ever, number 2 or 3 at the least, I'd say. He talks about how his grandfather from Trinidad was a voodoo priest. And, and he drops the tagline for the movie: "When there's no more room in hell, the dead shall walk the earth." I wrote
Yeah,
that.
I love that.
I wrote that in boldface, with pencil, pen, magic marker on every single desk I sat at junior high school and high school.
That was you? I had a clue, you son of a bitch.
That was me. Because
At least apologize.
Because back then, I'm not apologizing for shit. Not for that.
Gangster.
Certainly.
Everybody on Drew's show is gangster. Maybe I'll be nice.
Without a doubt. No, you can be a little gangster and nice at the same time.
Nice and gangster.
Back then, the only people that were into zombies were total trolls, deviants, punk rockers. If you were into zombies and zombie movies, you were a scumbag. Day of the Dead came out, same thing. So we're talking about up until very recently, all of the zombie movies that have been created, you could pretty much count on one hand. Italy, of course, went goo goo gaga over Dawn of the Dead and started producing ripoffs, which they were great at doing. And Dawn of the Dead was released as Zombie in Italy. So a ripoff came out called Zombie 2.
And sneaky.
Not by the same people. Yeah, not by the same people. They did not give a fuck about copyright infringement in Italy. That was directed by the legendary Lucio Fulci, who went on to become one of the great horror director icons of all time.
He sounds Italian.
Very. Well, small digression, but you're going to love this because I just think that this is this gives you an idea of how the Italian horror movie industry worked at that time. They would approach artists and tell them, look, could you do a poster for this movie that doesn't exist? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. They would do the poster. Then they would go to a trade show like the Cannes Film Festival or whatever. They'd be at their booth. The posters would be there. And, investors and, people who are looking for movies to show at the theaters and the theater chains would come by and go, oh, what about that one? I'm interested in that one. And they'd be like, okay. And when they get back to Italy, they'd call up this guy. His name was Dardano Sacchetti. And they'd be like, okay, yeah, we need a script based on this poster and that title in 2 weeks. And they would rush that sucker into production and they would get it out.
2 weeks.
Yeah, man. And
that's how you do it.
Yep. And then, of course, zombies finally went mainstreamed very recently when Frank Darabont bought the rights to Robert Kirkman's comic book, The Walking Dead. And next thing you knew...
Now, did he buy the rights? Just the way you phrased that. Did he buy the rights because...
oh, yeah.
I mean, he was a producer on it, but how'd they throw him off?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, it was one of those things. It was like...
They threw him off by the second,
they did.
the second season.
Yeah, they did. You know why? Because they wanted more episodes. So they had a choice. And the first season of The Walking Dead, I think, is brilliant. I think it's fantastic. And from that point on, I'm sorry, folks, The Walking Dead is shit. I've watched every episode, but it's garbage. Okay? And that's because they fired Frank Darabont because they rather than have 6 or 8 amazing episodes, perfect episodes, they wanted 14 or 20 or however many, where, you occasionally got a great episode, but most of them were fair to middling, and a lot of them were just garbage. Actually, I shouldn't say that that's where the zombie boom really took off, where it started. It started with a movie called 28 Days Later, which, interestingly enough, is not about zombies. They're the infected in that. That's to say they're people, human beings, ordinary human beings, living human beings who have been infected with the rage virus. That came out, and it was very heavily influenced by Romero's films. And then there was the Dawn of the Dead remake, which was surprisingly good, written by James Gunn, who is best known now for Guardians of the Galaxy, and directed by Zack Snyder, who did Man of Steel and 300 and Watchmen and all that stuff. And that was surprisingly good. And it was around that time, I think, a little bit after that, that Kirkman came out with The Walking Dead, and the rights were bought by Frank Darabont, and it was a hit. And the producers were like, "Guess what? The show's a massive hit. You're fired."
Yeah, you're fired. Get out of here. Well, he also like pulled all those personal contacts, all the great talent. He kind of talked them into doing it. Yeah, that was rough.
One of my great regrets was that at the 2015 New York Comic Con, I was there promoting Six Gun Gorilla. I had a table and everything, and we ruled Independence Alley because not only because I thought we had a great book and everything, and a nice setup and a standee and all that crap. We also were the only people in Independence Alley that didn't have a comic that was about zombies. And so we were getting a lot of attention. When I was walking around, I should have had a stack of comics with me because I walked right past Frank Darabont.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, here's your new show.
Yeah, really? Yeah, maybe next time.
Or at least I would have had an excuse to talk to him. So yeah, now everybody's aware of zombies. Romero's films, Fulci's films, those always got instant X ratings when they came out. The movie theaters, in fact, they usually weren't rated because they would have gotten X ratings. And that was associated with pornography at the time, and theaters wouldn't show an X-rated movie. But sometimes they would show an unrated movie.
Yeah.
And so the forensic show comes along, right? And suddenly you're seeing gore on national television, prime time, network TV. You're seeing mangled corpses and that sort of thing. And that was what opened the door to having a show like The Walking Dead. Producers of The Walking Dead asked George Romero once, like, would you like to direct a episode? And he not so politely declined. He was like, no, I've been there, I've done that.
Yeah.
Because he had tried in the past to get a Night of the Living Dead TV series off the ground, and it didn't work. And quite frankly, the creators of The Walking Dead, they never really showed him the proper respect. And they probably should have cut him a nice royalty check at the very least.
Yeah, or dedicated something to him.
Something.
Even a dedication would have been nice.
Something. The one
gold
ripoff,
watch, gold watch or something.
Gold watch.
The one ripoff of his movies that he absolutely loved was, I shouldn't say it's a ripoff because it's not, and that's why you loved it. It was Shaun of the Dead. He absolutely went goo goo gaga over that. And
did he work with them?
That's one of my favorites.
That's fantastic.
Movie makes you laugh.
He didn't work. He didn't work on it. He just he saw
but
it.
They show up in this movie.
Yeah. He got I think Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and the director. I'm blanking on his name right now to appear as zombies in Land of the Dead. And now zombies are everywhere. They are the
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. They are the monster of the 2000s. And I think that's because the zombies represent two things. They represent mass mindlessness, and they represent the breakdown of society.
Yeah, but another thing is, it's sort of like Aliens. You can demonize zombies. You can't demonize like really anyone else and get away with it. Hey, metal movies. Hey, man.
Metal movies and brewskis. Hail, 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 brother.
He's good people.
Hail metal.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. And I believe in. I don't know if he's going to be working on a book of his own, but we're getting more and more peeps.
Yes, he does have that book. What is it? It's the Crunch. What the hell?
Everybody's got a book.
I don't know.
Metal is welcome on my channel, and we got to get you on my channel too,
What is
Captain.
it? What's the name of your book again?
Yeah, that's all right.
Type
He's
in
here.
the
He can
chat.
tell us. I forget stuff like that.
That's okay. That's okay, Adam. We got you back, brother.
Hey, both of you guys have to get on my channel.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
We got to talk Gorilla action, and we got to talk Captain action.
Oh, most definitely. I'd love to.
Definitely. We definitely have to make that happen. I mean, shoot.
A love date.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got to hook that up, man. We got to
Hook up with love. Got to hook up with love.
And Comic Book Bob says, "I Am Legend" is one of my favorite books. One of my favorites too. People.
Brian, you're doing a lot of shows, Brian, aren't you?
Butch Cleaver. That's the name of it.
Trying to
Butch
get-
Cleaver.
Brian, you're getting better and better at shows.
Yeah, that's because of this guy.
You're not well. Oh, that's right. Drew is amazing.
Yeah,
Drew
he is.
is the is the YouTube whisperer. He will
Yep.
teach you how to be great.
Well, it's just like anything else. The more you do it, the easier it gets. My first appearances, I was really stiff. I was in like salesman mode, and then after a while, you cease to give a shit, and you just roll with it.
You
And
just put curtains behind you. You let your hair grow out. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
I need some curtains.
Once you're yourself, once you're just like yourself, it actually not only is no longer stressful, it actually starts to become fun.
Yeah, and Drew, it's like what I feel like why I made that comment about Brian was I feel like, he's going on and on and on about this history of zombies, but you know what? It's interesting, and I can just tune out and listen to him. And they can just like, oh, cool. I'm just going to like stop paying attention to everything and listen to this guy, Brian. And he could, he goes on and on and on. It's interesting. You have the sense that he's probably correct, like it's researched, but more or less, it's pleasant to listen to.
Oh,
Brian has a plethora of knowledge on horror movies and horror movie monsters. It's the only time I can stump him is if I find like an extremely obscure movie that's fairly new. If I find an obscure movie that's old, no, he's seen it. It's got to be a newer obscure movie.
Metal Movies and Brewskis mentions Return of the Living Dead.
It's another one of my favorites. Yeah.
Another one of my favorites too. That was a real pleasant surprise. Written and directed by Dan O'Bannon, who wrote the screenplay for Alien, and was produced by the people who produced the original Night of the Living Dead. And it was a way for them to make money because the people that made Night of the Living Dead made no money off it because they really fucked up. They didn't copyright it, and it was like instantly public domain.
They left that one copyright by the production company off of it. In a way, maybe they just thought it would never amount to anything. Maybe they thought it was just a kind of a one and done.
Well, you didn't have the home video market, right? You didn't have.
You didn't have that whatsoever.
You didn't have that at all. And who knew when or if that was ever going to come along? And of course, it was syndicated on television. That's where I saw it for the first time. I remember vividly, very vividly, being about 10 years old, sitting down to watch it, turning off all the lights, like I normally did while watching a horror movie. But this one was very different. Because a half an hour in, I started turning the lights on.
I keep forgetting I'm not in the 1980s. It's like, how long ago was 1968? It was a while, but it's like it was a really long time ago now. Like, what?
I know. And and it makes me feel old because Night of the Living Dead came out October 1st, 1968, which was the day on which I was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
That says something.
Isn't that funky?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like meant to be.
No wonder you're obsessed with the movie.
Love it.
Yeah, we could definitely watch this trailer without getting in trouble, right?
Well, if you watch a few seconds at a time.
Are you kidding? It's public domain, no?
If YouTube, if the person who has it on YouTube posted runs ads on it, it's gonna have a copyright match.
More shattering than your strangest nightmare. Night of the Living Dead.
And I do get away with breaking it up like this. It does help to prevent YouTube from striking it. There's also other ways to prevent that I've discovered. But they go off of two things. They go off of the soundtrack and the video itself, and it's strictly just digitized code that they try to compare. So they do a comparison to the soundtrack itself, and they do a comparison to the actual digital pixels. And because this is considered to be about 75% of the screen or more it's showing right now, what trips me out is when they strike when we're showing the smaller screen in there, because technically it's less than 50% of the screen. So I wonder how they even pick that up. But so that one has to probably be mostly off audio when they pick that up. So
good point.
Drew knows all this stuff.
Yep.
A night with the dead who cannot die. A night of total terror.
So For people who
Dwayne.
aren't familiar with this movie, go ahead. I was going to set it up
Dwayne.
for you, but
Dwayne Jones. This movie's historic in the sense that it's one of the first American films to have an African American protagonist, not just in horror, just like in general.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is the thing that I always find really interesting. Romero says that he did not write the character as the black character. He says he did not cast Dwayne Jones because he was black. He says he cast Dwayne Jones because he was the best actor who auditioned for the part. I take him at his word. I believe that. At the same time, there's no question that when you're watching this film, the fact that Ben is black completely changes the entire dynamic of the film. Completely changes the entire feel of the film, and especially that ending. It's also worth mentioning that 1968, you had major civil strife in the United States. A lot of people have seen this movie as representative of that internal strife. It was the most violent year in American history since the Civil War. And George Romero, after they had wrapped up filming, was driving the negative to be developed in New York City. So he was driving from Pittsburgh to New York, straight line. And he was listening to the radio, and he heard that Dr. Martin Luther King had just been shot.
Jesus.
So, yeah. So
that's like Aliens Landing. That screwed up the whole country. Everybody was freaked out.
Yep.
Who got killed first, JFK or Martin Luther King?
Oh, it was JFK.
Okay.
Yeah. And RFK, I think, was Bobby Kennedy. RFK, I think, was after King.
yeah, RFK was after, well after.
Yeah, the CIA just walked him right into a gun.
Terrible.
But yeah,
That's great for a conspiracy show, though. So.
Yeah, Dwayne Jones was only in one movie. He was in two movies after this. He was in a art house vampire movie called Ganja and Hess, which is available on DVD and Blu-ray, which is directed by an African-American director named James Gunn, who was an actor. He'd been on The Outer Limits. And that's an amazing movie. Another absolutely amazing performance by Dwayne. After that, he became an acting teacher in New York City. I'm not sure exactly where. And he never, ever, ever would talk about this movie. He didn't want to talk about it. And never did any interviews. The one interview with him where he does talk about it a little is just an audio interview that somebody did with him. That's usually included as an extra on the Night of the Living Dead DVDs and Blu-rays. Oh, God. We're on what? Like the fourth remake of Day of the Dead? I think
we need two more.
Yeah, right?
At least two more a week. We need two a week.
Two a week. That TV show is based on Day of the Dead, right?
Which one?
There's a new. Well, actually, the Romero estate said. No, there's a new TV show coming to the Sci-Fi Channel. I think it is for Day of the Dead, or it might have been Dawn of the Dead.
Oh God. Well,
yeah.
And here's the thing about Day of the Dead. When Night of the Living Dead came out, it was a benchmark moment in horror. It was a game changer. Nobody had ever done anything like it before. It absolutely horrified audiences. Critics were split. Roger Ebert thought it was filth and that it should have been banned. Other critics immediately were all over it and hailing it as a low budget masterpiece, an instant classic. It became very popular on the midnight movie circuit.
Living Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, also when it came out, game changer. When Day of the Dead came out, it wasn't a game changer. It was just an awesome, amazing.
Which one? Dawn? You mean Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead was not?
Day of the Dead.
Okay.
When Day of the Dead came out, 86, I want to say, it was a tremendous disappointment to a lot of people, including myself, because it wasn't a game changer and it wasn't as good as the two previous movies. However, time has been very kind to Day of the Dead. And Romero actually said it was his favorite of the trilogy. And you know, I'm one of the people that can look back and say, like, I was wrong. Day of the Dead is a classic and a masterpiece.
Interesting.
Yeah, but here we're looking at College of the Dead. Adam, do you want to tell us a little bit about your relationship with zombies?
Well,
Start with the good stuff.
the good stuff. We first
Let's
started
get right
seeing
into
each
the
other
guts.
in before college. Well, College of the Dead is something I decided to create because I love the genre. I like the idea of human beings struggling to survive in what is like a war zone with monsters surrounding them. And the zombie genre is really cool. I've seen all kinds of casts of characters, but never like a group of college students. And it just occurred to me like it's ridiculous to do zombie movie after zombie movie after zombie movie and not have college students. You know, why would you not do that? It makes no sense. So I developed the book with Stefan Petruka, who is the writer of it. You know, I'm always generous with credit, you know, because if someone does, you know, a large percentage of the work, they're going to get a large percentage of the credit with me. So, yeah, Stefan did a great job on this with me. We developed a great core group of characters. We start off with College of the Dead Book 1, the previous book, before the zombie apocalypse, and then it just kind of hits them all out of nowhere. And you see characters die that you would assume would die, that are weak characters. You see strong characters die as well, but you really get a sense like you're in a zombie movie throughout book 1. So in book 2, we carry over the same vibe. You know, you're in the zombie apocalypse world, but we start out with a flashback before the apocalypse took place. You've got Brendan, who is drinking at a party, having a good time, meets a girl. She's drinking too. They start fooling around. And then all of a sudden she gets uncomfortable and runs off. And then Brendan realizes, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know, I thought she was into it. So he runs after her, runs into her and her friends. She's crying, and he's starting to get accused of trying to take advantage of her. And all of a sudden, the zombie apocalypse takes place at that moment for Brendan. That was when the zombies kind of hit where Brendan was at. So then they get separated, and Brendan spends the rest of the book looking for her, to talk to her, to save her, to kind of also understand who he is. So there's kind of a question of identity. And there's a question of, you know, until he reaches her, he kind of can't even figure out who he is anymore while he's surrounded by zombie apocalypse. And really, it's an interesting, you know, insight into like stuff that college students deal with all the time. But at the same time, it's, you know, a pulse pounding, very cool, violent, interesting zombie story. So you kind of get all angles of it. And it's full color this time. I decided to do this one in full color.
Excellent.
A lot of people like the black and white from the first book, and it was designed originally for black and white. Even book 2 was designed originally for black and white, but I was like, nah, you know what? Everybody else is doing cool looking color books. Let me do this thing in color. And I had Farah, who's my cover colorist, do some test pages, and we figured out a really cool way of how to do color over the black and white artwork. And it just came out really, really good. I'm really, really happy with it. And if you scroll down, you'll see a little further below the individual color pages. But the whole book is complete. It's all colored. It's all lettered. It's all ready to go. We're just at the point where we're collecting the orders, and then we're going to send the final files to the printer.
Nice.
Yeah, do Sito. Yes, finally, Adam Post is promoting his book. Yeah, it's true. I do like talking about the world and comics and the industry, and I will promote my book as well. I do.
Adam,
Yeah,
Adam,
Big Brian.
everybody respects your hustle. People, respect Adam's hustle.
They do respect my hustle. Ethan says that. You know what's funny is if I go on Ethan's show and it's for a specific purpose, like I went on the day that he launched Cyberfrog Wreck Planet.
Yeah.
So while we're busy launching Cyberfrog Wreck Planet, this book had launched, but I wasn't about to say like, all right, well, let's just start talking about College of the Dead now. Because he's, you know, was so into his moment. Everybody's blown away. His father was there in the beginning. So it's not always a promo stream on Ethan's channel, but it's great to be able to talk about the book and the story and the characters and get people, interested in what we're doing, getting to kind of see what it's all about. But it's true. Adam will occasionally promote his own book, but this book I'm really happy with how it's doing. We're a little bit more than halfway through the first 60 days, and it's done, basically 5 times as much as we did with the previous book. So I can't ask for more than that. It's been successful.
Would you
and
say
we have,
that? Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
go ahead. No, I was saying we have a couple more surprises left in terms of a couple of other product launches and things like that as part of this campaign. Any day now, we'll do some promotion. And if I release another cover or something like that, or another variant, I always make sure that any other product that comes out, if we do another cover, for example, we're going to do free shipping on that to anyone else who's already backed the campaign. So that way it'll ship along with their order. They don't have to pay, a separate shipping fee, and it'll all go at once.
Well, I find like the whole variant cover thing interesting because it's not my kind of a thing, but people want them. And it's all about the consumer. It's all about the backers. And if they want variant covers, we will hook them up with variant covers.
Yeah. If you scroll down a little bit, like the first cover was this.
True.
Yeah.
Wake up.
I'm scrolling. You know what? I'm scrolling the wrong one.
There you go. Wait. So the first one was the graduation one.
That's great.
And
man.
I love that cover. And then the second one was the torch one. And, because I wanted to have like some sexy cover because I love that stuff. And to me, it's part of horror. And the torch cover came in great. So I was like, well, there's no way I'm not going to have the artist do another cover when the work that came in on the torch cover was so great. So I hired him to do this last one, which is this girl, costs an arm and a leg to go to college, where college costs you an arm and a leg. And it came out even better. So I'm like, all right, how do you not do these extra covers when you're really happy with how it looks? And each one kind of tells a different part of the story. There's the students that are dead as college students. There's the girl, about to get attacked by zombies, but not attacked yet. And then the girl getting attacked by zombies. I mean, who even knew we could do that? I'm half expecting we'll give it to the printer. The printer will be like, no, you got to go to another printer. We're not gonna print that. too gruesome. And if it happens, we'll be ready. We're still shipping on time.
Right. Hey, look, that's what Comicsgate's all about, is freedom, artistic freedom.
Yep. It's true.
Censorship.
And you can get your choices which cover you like, obviously.
Yep. People can get their choice to which cover they like. They can get all the covers are available as add-ons as well. So if you pick one of the covers and then you decide, hey, I want to get that other cover as well, or you want to get the prequel as well, you can add that on the order during checkout, whichever ones you want, kind of make your own combination. And there's no extra shipping on the second book. So the first book we charge for shipping, the second books and more, we don't charge any additional shipping. And I'm going to continue to let everybody know who backed in the past already on this campaign. And if they want to add one of the books, something else came out, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize, can I get that one, as well without extra shipping? The answer is always yes. Especially like people international, international shipping is expensive. We all know that. But even domestic shipping, you don't need to pay. You're paying enough for the comic. $25 is enough for a graphic novel. It's bad enough we have to charge shipping at all. We charge shipping, but if we can get a little bit careful about coordinating how we do our order processing, there's no reason we can't try to ship the both at the same time.
And Comicsgate, I am convinced, is going to work together, and we are going to find a solution to this. We're going to find, maybe printers that we can work with on other shores, like in Europe.
There is a solution. I just have to work on organizing it, but there really is. We just have to do a little bit of collaborating.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
We're going to get it done. If I can, I'm going to do the first test of it with this book.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
Because I feel it's important that, even though, a lot of us will take a hit with the foreign orders, it's very important that that Comicsgate is international, and that people in Japan people in Thailand, people in Norway, New
No,
Zealand.
not people in Norway, but everywhere else.
Well,
Only
that's right.
kidding.
We don't like Vikings, do we? No.
Yeah, not the Vikings.
No, it's like, I take a hit when I took a hit when I was like mailing books to Japan when I was fulfilling on my last campaign, but it still feels great because it's like
just to know you have
books to Japan
Singapore
and Hong Kong and New Zealand.
It's an incredible feeling.
It is.
It's incredible that how expensive it is as well, but
it's
incredible to know that we have people in New Zealand that are reading, or Finland, reading our stuff, and here we are all the way on the other side of the world, and they really appreciate it. So yeah, anybody who appreciates our work, we're going to get it to them. And even domestic, we can do better. We're going to get it done.
And it's really cool to be able to say that you're a published international author.
Yeah. Look, long after we're gone, there'll be copies of our books with our name on them somewhere.
Yep.
Somewhere in the world.
Yep.
And so let's watch your video.
Let's do it.
Of course, now when I hear this, I always think of Macho Man Randy Savage, but
Crazy, right?
I love the line
rock and roll.
Where college costs you an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
I love
I
that.
just got
That's
a compliment
great.
from another guy on that as well earlier.
That's great.
It's like, yeah, that is that's all thanks to Carl O'Roe working with me on this a little bit. Carl was trying to encourage me. He's like, you have to have more excitement, attached to your project, and there's a pre-trailer even. And Carl was like, try to find some cool, movie outrageous phrases and stuff. So I just started to research old B movies and things like that. And I came across something similar, and I changed it. And I was like, hey, this is pretty perfect. And Carl was like, yeah, man, that's good. That's good.
It's clever.
Works.
It's very clever. And I noticed that you are now at 17.5K, and that is that's much better than the first book did, right?
Yeah, 17,573. We have something like 23 days left on the second group of 30 days. Yeah, at this point on the prior campaign, we were at like $3,000. So it's about 5 times better than we did last time. And, we'll probably stay in demand. And, the way we're running right now, it's going to be a reasonably successful campaign. I'm very happy with it. I would have been happy with it enough if we closed at this, because we are in the middle of sort of the midst of a weird time right now in the world. And I'm grateful for all the backing. We've started on College of the Dead Book 3, Spring Break, and we have a great story for it.
Nice.
Yep. I've teamed back up with the original writer for College of the Dead, who is the same guy who wrote this one, Graduation Day, and we're continuing the continuity. I pitched him a story idea I had that involved one of the characters that he created as part of the group. And he's like, that's a great use for her. That's a great story. Let me work on it. So he's working on it. And we're going to start art on it. Should be Saturday, I think, is the first start day. We had Saturday or a couple days after. So this one will ship June 2020. The sequel to this one will ship January 2021. No time will be wasted. I believe in sequels, and it's got to be twice a year or you're not doing sequels. That's how got to have a tough discipline on that stuff. So what's great with the success of this is it makes it an easy kind of no-brainer that, of course, I'm going to do College of the Dead Book 3.
Right.
And that gives us momentum. I sent you a link to, I was shocked that I got this. This is a fan trailer by a guy who calls himself Bronson Gorilla. This other trailer was by
What?
Ted Zagaro, by the way. Bronson Gorilla.
you
You're
sent me-
you
beautiful
sent
work.
me a link in the private chat here. Where's
yeah,
the
in the
link at?
private chat.
Okay.
Yep.
That's
And he did another 1 minute trailer. This other one was done. This first one was done by Ted Zagaro. I love what he did, and was a flat $250. Great guy to work with. I highly recommend him. And
The
I
Slash
always ask
Films one. Are we doing the Slash Films link? Or are we doing the
Slash
YouTube
Films. Oh no, that's something else.
link? Okay. What is
Oh, that first link is the Day of the Dead TV series I was referencing earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's zombie porn. I know it's zombie porn.
zombie porn. The best kind of porn.
there is actually a zombie
That's,
porno movie.
isn't that called like necrophilia?
Well,
No.
maybe you have to go necromantic and zombies.
This is scary.
It is ominous. Nice.
Yeah, I was concerned that maybe this guy's a murderer or something because it's
He is a true horror and exploitation and cult movie fan. That is magnificent. It's basically what he did was he made a trailer for your book that looks like the trailer from a one of the grindhouses that
Yeah.
you in the in Times Square in like the 1970s and 80s that would show like Italian like horror movies and like really like nasty stuff. That's fucking fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that. I like it better. I actually like it better than the first one. Who is it that did this?
Calls himself Bronson Gorilla.
Bronson Gorilla is a fucking genius. You heard it here.
Yeah, he's
first.
great. He is great.
Bronson Gorilla, damn man.
You got some amazing talent in Comicsgate, man.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
You know what? It's on my YouTube channel. There's a link to his Twitter.
I want him
If
to
it
do
exists, there's a porn of it.
I'm gonna see if we can do a trailer for me, man. That's freaking fantastic.
Yeah, I don't see why not if he's got time. You know, if I asked him to do one for me, of course I pay him something. You know.
Oh, of course. Oh yeah. No, I would never ask him to. I would never ask anyone to do work for me for free.
Calling me a free education. Yeah. Well.
Right. That was
true.
The music and everything. Everything in that was perfect. Oh man. And
yeah, when he had that
rushing effect.
Yeah, when he had that woman start crying, that was like I wasn't expecting that, and that like I'm like, all right, this is freaking disturbing. So I paused it originally because I watched that stuff. I'm like, all right, if something really starts freaking me out, I slow it down. I'm like, all right, let me not get completely freaked out.
If you start to get that feeling of dread in your gut, that's horror. That's when you know the horror is working.
Yeah, he did right. He got the heartbeat. He did a little bit of that at the beginning, but as someone who like I don't know those trailers as well, I wouldn't be able to construct something like that.
Right.
I would have had the heartbeat going longer, but he knew like no, you just have a little of it, and then you do something else, and then you do something else. And it's like, yeah, he really did a great job.
Yeah, trust me, that guy knows his horror trailers.
Yeah, that's one hell of a gorilla. He's right up your alley.
Most definitely. I Bronson Gorilla, if you're watching this, I will be in touch.
Right. Yeah, if you can't find him for some reason, you let me know, and I'll find him.
Brother. You got it. No, and I have to say, this looks so good in color. The colorist did such a nice job.
Thanks.
With this.
Yeah, we had help from Kyle Ritter also on kind of like style design, and he was a great resource. So he's
Hail
just very,
Kyle.
very generous with his time. He colored the first cover. So that was that's why it's like, it's worth it to get, if you have the budget and you can make it happen, get the best person, to do the project, because then you
Always.
have a spillover where you've got like some other ancillary benefit you couldn't have imagined, because having him color the first cover was not part of, of what it wasn't intended we were going to have him do, style design or feedback or anything like that. Actually, this cover idea was Kyle's idea originally, this girl with a torch.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. The idea to draw something like that. I was originally thinking of having Billy Tucci do that cover. Billy was a little too busy at the time, and then I was like, well, let me give this to Javier. But it was Kyle's idea, Kyle's
Wonderful.
concept. Yeah.
Billy's great,
So
but this turned out.
This one of everything plus prequels. Now that looks like the package for collectors. So if anybody's watching and they haven't backed this yet, and they got money burning a hole in their pocket, and you've already backed Captain Love, then
back
Twice.
Captain Love again.
Twice.
Yep, back it again.
This is a good perk here for the collector. It's got all 3 covers, and it's got the first book if you don't have it. And this is the ash can, which is basically a script of how the book was set up. It's a very interesting read. If you're trying to figure out how to write a script for a comic book, that would be a very useful educational tool. So.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. Oh,
and it also has that art book, the 260-page art book as part of that.
Yes. I wasn't really seeing that because the background it was up against.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see. It is a little hard to see.
Yeah, but see now even more. Will you please stop knocking over my water bottle?
Is that Pepper Potts? Is that Pepper
Cat
Potts
drama.
acting up?
Cat drama.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, you have no idea. Sometimes Drew will be talking, and you'll just see Pepper Potts' paw come into the frame and start fucking with him. Like, no, me. That's cats.
Cats need attention.
Oh, they demand it, man. They demand it.
Yeah.
You own a dog. You're owned by a cat. Oh, and people also back Blood Hunt too. Don't forget to do that.
Yeah, Black Sims Blood Hunt.
Oh, commercials.
See, this is that tells me that this one will definitely.
You should definitely have a certain lock. What?
Oh, and somebody in the chat. I'm just trying to back up. Mentioned the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. This was written by George Romero. The reason why they made this was so that the people that originally made the original Night of the Living Dead could make some money. And so Romero wrote the screenplay, and it's written in such a way that it assumes that you know the original movie, and the better you know the original movie, the better this movie is, because where the original movie turned right, this one turns left. At time after time after time, it's constantly subverting your expectations in cool and interesting ways. It was directed by makeup artist Tom Savini, who did a pretty good job, and also is the notable first horror movie appearance by Tony Todd, who plays Ben, and of course went on to great fame and success in the Candyman series.
I like that guy.
Yeah, I love it.
Coming to get you.
Bill Moseley, by the way.
Why do you have to be so cruel? What? Show some respect.
So, you wanna lay some more premise on this, Brian? Since it's
a little trivia. That's Bill Moseley. That's playing Barbara's brother. And Bill Moseley, of course, is probably best known for playing Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and for being in all of Rob Zombie's shitty horror movies, which are, of course, all based on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And the woman that's being chased here, the woman who plays Barbara, is... why am I blanking on her name?
Ooh, is he gonna get stumped? Is he gonna get stumped? No,
it's up here. It's up here. It's Patricia Tallman. And if you gorgeous woman, if you want to see her butt naked, she's butt naked in George Romero's Night Riders. And she was also in Babylon 5.
On that trance-like state
Shelter.
So as far as zombie movies go, how would you rate this one versus the first one?
It's solid. It's solid. It's not trying to be the first movie. It doesn't have that feeling of claustrophobic terror, but it's very engaging. It's very well made, and it's. Let me put it this way: when I and other hardcore fans went to see this when it came out, we came out happy. It's recommended. It's recommended.
It's becoming a trap.
Are you sure we're gonna be all right? Cooper, you gotta help me out!
And every road out
Don't stop no matter what happens.
is just another day.
So how would you rate it for the jump scare?
I'm not really a jump scare kind of guy. It does have like one pretty decent one.
Okay.
I would say.
What about gore? We're gonna start. We're gonna have to come up with some kind of rating system. I think we're gonna need. We're gonna need like a scale for like when we're talking about movies. We're gonna need
1 to 4 skulls.
We're gonna need for gore. We're gonna need it for jump scares. We're gonna need it for blood and guts because I don't qualify blood and guts as gore. They can be the same, but they can also be very different.
Dread.
Nudity. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah.
Nudity, dread, and then obviously script, lighting, and originality can all go as one. You know.
Did we say nudity?
We did.
We did say
okay. Nudity.
Did we mention the boobs?
Nudity.
We can have nudity and boobies. We can have those
Yes.
separate
Yes.
categories.
Actually, the original Night of the Living Dead has more nudity than this does, which has no nudity. Gore, 0. Pretty much 0 gore. I mean, there is a little. The makeup on the zombies is very, very good. A lot of them, they look really cadaverous. But this was made in 1990, where they had to. There were some gore effects. Zombies getting shot in the head with 12-gauge shotguns at point blank range, heads exploding, all that stuff. They had to cut all that stuff out because they needed to get the R rating. Mind you, today there's stuff on your average episode of The Walking Dead that is 100 times more extreme than anything you would find in a movie like this. If you took an episode of The Walking Dead and you released it at that time, it would have got and put it before the MPAA, the people who rate the movies, it would have gotten an X rating.
Cool.
Without nudity.
They're coming right for us.
Without nudity. Tom Towles, by the way, from Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer as Mr. Cooper. And one of the things I love about this is that it stresses the fact that Ben, although he is an awesome guy, is wrong. And in the original movie, he's the guy who gets everybody killed. And Mr. Cooper, as much of an asshole as he is, was right. So yeah, if you're a fan of the original and you haven't seen this, check it out. It is definitely worth investigating.
Yeah,
And,
I've seen it, but I'm sure it was like 30 years ago.
yeah, it's on Blu-ray. I wish they could release it with all the gore.
So what happened? They don't have an uncut gore one?
No, because this is before they were doing that sort of a thing. I mean, I think some of that, some of the edited footage exists on VHS, but like not in good enough quality where they can cut it back into the movie. Like they either don't have or haven't found the original negatives.
Okay, interesting.
Of the edited footage.
In 1968, George Romero brought us Night of the Living Dead. It became the classic horror film of its time.
Not that room! Not that room!
So,
the greatest movie ever made.
Zombie movie.
My opinion, not just zombie movie. Well, I should say it's the greatest movie ever made. I should say this movie never gets old. It is absolutely groundbreaking for the time at which it came out. People who saw this in theaters when it first came out, I saw it at a drive-in, were just blown away. You'd never seen anything like this before. Nobody had ever done anything like this before. And by that, I'm talking about sheer scale of absolute mayhem and extreme gore. When that dude kicks in that door and fires a shotgun and blows somebody's head up, when that head explodes, you'd never seen anything like that in a movie before. And that exploding head, here's some trivia, was actually a head that was made for the actress Galen Ross, because in the original ending to Dawn of the Dead, she kills herself. She commits suicide. She's in the helicopter and she puts her head up into the blades. They changed the ending at the last minute and made the right choice, I think, but they still had that head. So what they did was they painted it brown. They gave it an afro, made it look like a black dude, filled it with some bullet squibs and, whatever, when they were having for lunch, they threw in there and shot at a point blank range with a fucking shotgun.
Now, George Romero brings us the most.
Yeah, the music in this, of course, iconic score by the Italian progressive rock group Goblin. And the reason they did the soundtrack to this is because this was produced by the Italian horror director Dario Argento. And they had done the music for him for Suspiria and Deep Red. Shoot it, man. Shoot it in the head.
Shoot it, man. Now, accept the fact that there's no escaping the horrible consequences. George Romero brings back the dead. Night.
So in Night of the Living Dead, it is the Night of the Living Dead. That's to say, at the end of the movie, everything is back under control. It's not a zombie apocalypse. The zombies, it was a one-night thing. Here, for the first time, you have a world that's been engulfed by zombies. And the problem has gotten completely out of control. And, of course, people, instead of working together, are largely fighting each other, arguing.
The concept that these are our family members or our friends. They are not. They will not respond to such emotions.
Operator dead. Post abandoned. You may never get out of.
Yeah, classic.
Kind of instinct, memory, what they used to do. This was an important place in their lives.
What is it?
That's the Monroeville Mall, which still exists. I feel ashamed to say that I've never been there. One of these days I'm going to go there because it is one of the meccas of horror. And you can do a YouTube search and people will show you the parts of that mall that have changed and the parts that haven't. Before the Dawn of the Dead remake came out, if you went there and you started walking around acting like you were a zombie, security would escort you out. The Dawn of the Dead remake comes out. Now there's a plaque and pictures.
Interesting.
It is a horrible, hauntingly accurate vision of the mindless excesses of a society gone mad.
They must be
destroyed on sight.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
We are down to the line, folks. We are down to the line.
Dawn of the Dead.
Greatest zombie movie ever made.
Yep.
So how would you rate this Dawn of the Dead to the more recent one?
Well, it's you do it the other way, of course. The more recent one, I at first had no interest, and then I read an interview with James Gunn, and he said that he wanted to make his Dawn of the Dead about the original Dawn of the Dead, in a sense. The way that Philip Kaufman's 1978 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers was in some ways about the 1950 version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And that's when I went, oh, okay, I'm willing to give it a chance. and I went to see it, and I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
I like them being trapped in a mall. I like that whole mall thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, more trivia. Romero knew the guy who owned the Monroeville Mall, and he went in there and he was looking around. And he was just like, "Man, you could hold up here forever."
Mm.
And that's where he got the idea to set it in a shopping mall. Ah, yes, the Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. A very, I would say, very well known in cult circles, not amongst non-cult circles. This is an absolutely terrifying movie. It's a few films that to this day has scenes that actually give me a feeling of dread. It's about a kind of sonic insecticide that brings back the dead and, of course, gives them a hunger for human flesh. Now, in this, you don't have armies of zombies. Like in Dawn of the Dead, the zombies aren't fast, they're not smart, they're not strong, but there's just so many of them. In this, the zombies have super strength and can pull tombstones out of the ground and throw them at you. They can rip people in half. Yeah, and yes, it's directed by Jorge Grau, and was shot in Manchester.
Let's do some hails out to the chat. I see we got John Malin in the chat. Hail, John!
Hello, John.
Nice to have you on the channel.
Hey, John.
Greetings, welcome.
Whoop, whoop.
Hope to see you come again.
Most
and we
definitely.
got Vejeld.
Vilm.
We'll have to learn.
Vilm.
Okay, what he said.
Is that a French name, Simon?
No, it's not a French name.
Okay.
It's just Vilm.
Let's-
And then we got PJ from Orville Nation.
Welcome,
yes,
PJ.
John. Thank you. Take John's advice and slack that like
Slack
button.
that like. Thanks, John. And also thanks everybody for
Simps.
We love you. But yeah,
you're gonna find too many simps on this channel.
no, definitely not. Definitely not. This was also one of the movies that was one of the primary targets of the 1980s video nasty scandal in England. If you don't know about the video nasty scandal, police were actually raiding video stores and pulling movies off the shelves. And there was a list of movies in particular that they were after, and this was one of them. And the reason they were after this one is because it's politically very subversive, and specifically very subversive against the English police.
Wow.
Yeah. Because, horror movies in general, but especially zombie movies, often have a interesting political subtext to them.
Sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of political aspect to a horror movie in general. I mean, but when it comes to zombie movies, I mean that's like the basis of society breakdown. So you got to have some kind of political subtext in there. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and the hero is played by Ray Lovelock, who we see here is like a beatnik, like a hippie kind of store owner, like sells an antique store owner.
Antique store owner.
Yeah.
So what would you say was the best part of this movie?
Oh, there's a set piece in the second act of the film where we just saw little bits and pieces from, where Ray Lovelock and the lady that he's with get trapped in a tomb, and there's a zombie down there, and he's coming after them. It's the corpse of a hobo who drowned himself and has come back. And so he's trying to kill them, and they're fighting him, and they're fighting him pretty successfully. So he realizes he needs reinforcements. And what he does is he goes over to these other caskets, and he flips the lids open. He takes some of his blood, and he places his hand over one eye, then the next eye, almost as if he's sort of baptizing them. And then those corpses come to life.
Ah.
And there's one shot in particular where he gets knocked down and comes back up Nosferatu style. That is, I think, one of the crowning moments in horror history. Like one of those moments, because that's the thing with horror movies. Very often, if you're a horror movie fan, you're not just looking for great movies, you're looking for great moments. And this movie has a bunch of them. Yeah, they ain't going to do nothing.
For you. Look, I know it sounds silly, but is it possible? I mean, could a film fail to catch an image for any reason?
Well, a ghost, maybe.
So what's that about? They don't catch
Yes,
the image of the zombies in this one?
Like vampires, they don't turn up on film.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I said, this is if you're a serious horror fan, this is a must. It's on DVD and Blu-ray right now from Blue Underground. It's a classic. Oof. See ya.
John.
Ouch.
Oh yeah, and the gore in this is heavy duty. I can't say for certain, but I think that George Romero was inspired by this when he made Day of the Dead. You know, where the zombies are like really pulling people's bodies apart. Yeah, you see that in this, and it's really creepy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, some incredible imagery, and their weakness is fire.
Well,
Just like
most people's weakness is fire.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Oh, and then they make this interesting sound. Where they're kind of like Jorge Grau said that when his father had died, that he was in the room with him and his corpse, and that he'd been like the corpse had sat up, and that when they sat him down, that he made this sighing sound, and that's the sound that the zombies make.
Oh.
And when they're set on fire, they kind of go like this. They kind of go like they're protecting themselves from the light.
So a little vampire stylings in that is what you're saying.
Well, let's not forget that in Night of the Living Dead, the zombies in that were inspired by the vampires in I Am Legend. That's where it all goes. Here we go. Here's Lucio Fulci's fucking zombie. Now we're talking.
I was trying to determine if that's the real John Malin or if somebody is John Malining around.
That's a new term now. John Malining around.
Malining around, yeah. Because he had said earlier, not wearing pants. You guys are wearing pants, which, I mean, John could say that, but I didn't think he would.
Oh, Mandy! Hail
Mandy!
That's the real Mandy.
Love you,
and then
Mandy.
John says, "Tell Adam to let someone else talk when I wasn't talking." As you're, giving all the assessments of like, that's probably the real John then.
Yeah.
Wow,
folks,
Jim O'Reilly. Everybody and their grandmothers in here.
I know, it's awesome.
Nanny. Guys,
Yeah,
make sure
hey
you
everybody!
subscribe.
While you're in here, click that subscribe button and smash the like. Yeah,
Yep.
and
Click the bell
then
for notifications.
if you don't back
forget to
Captain,
share.
if you don't back College of the Dead yet, make sure you take the time to check that out because
Absolutely,
it's doing very well, 17.5 right now. So
Yep, we're cranking. It's at collegeofthedead.com. That link will take you right to the campaign.
Yeah, and by the way, if I'm co-opting the discussion, that's
go ahead.
You got me talking about horror movies. It's difficult to shut me up.
Yeah, no, I'm actually, like I was saying to Drew before, you've really gotten your YouTube vibe down, and we can just turn our brains off and listen to you. So
okay, as long as I'm not boring.
No, you're doing a great presentation.
I often take advantage of that and be doing something on the side while
Drew is like, all right, time to finish that spreadsheet. Somebody wound up Brian, and no, Brian, you are good. Don't.
Okay, all right. Just don't be afraid to tell me to shut the hell up. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I know how to work that mute. No worries.
All right, there you go.
What did Ethan send everybody or something? It's like everybody and their grandmother. It's great.
Oh man, that is awesome.
Comics Kate.
Hail everybody. CG in the house.
Hell
yeah.
All
So,
life.
what happens in this one here, Brian?
Okay, this is Zombie 2. I told you how Dawn of the Dead was released in Italy as Zombie. This is Zombie 2. And it really actually has nothing to do with the original Dawn of the Dead. As much as it's technically a ripoff, it's really not. For one thing, it's set on the island of Haiti, where corpses are rising and, of course, have an insatiable appetite for human flesh.
Oops.
What's
Brian,
interesting...
sorry to interrupt. Brian, Drew, can you wrench Jabba?
Yeah, I sure can. Let me.
Yeah, 'cause he's
if
great with
anybody
the link.
deserves a wrench, it's Jabba.
Yeah,
What's up,
needs a
Jabba?
wrench.
Yo, yo, yo.
This says Zombie 1979. Why are we calling it Zombie 2?
Because the original trailer was... Because Dawn of the Dead was released in Italy as Zombie. So it was created as Zombie 2. When they released it here, they just called it Zombie. Because if they called it Zombie 2, well, people would be like, well, where was Zombie 1?
Yeah,
right?
So this is the U.S. release of the Italian film.
Yeah, and also known as zombie flesh eaters and zombie creeping flesh.
Yeah, I like when they have multiple titles. It's interesting.
The aforementioned Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, that is the title holder. That has the most alternate titles of any movie I've ever seen. But this has a few, and this was one of the movies that was also singled out for persecution during the 1980s video nasty mania that was sweeping England at the time. So not only, think about this. When movies like this were coming out on VHS when I was a kid, you really felt like felt like a deviant watching this stuff, right? In England, you were actually breaking the law. How awesome!
That's pretty punk rock right there.
That's as punk rock as you could fucking get, man. So I envy my UK brothers that were horror fans during that time because they were actually breaking the law. But yeah, no. What's great about this movie too is it as good as the Romero movies? Of course not. The makeup on the zombies is spectacular because they don't look like Tom Savini in Dawn of the Dead. What did he do? He painted everybody blue. Yeah. Here, the zombies look like they came out of the ground. Certain shots in particular, like the Conquistador zombie that has one eye socket that has like worms crawling in it. You'll see is fantastic. Oh, and the famous splinter to the eye scene. Infamous. Oh, and then of course, 3 words: zombie versus shark.
Oh,
that's not in this. I don't think it's in the trailer, but we'll see.
Zombie versus shark.
Zombie versus shark. One of the greatest scenes ever. There's Al Cliver busting shots.
I haven't seen this in a long time.
Boom! Oh, Simon.
There you go.
Get the DVD. Get the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is fantastic.
All right, I'm gonna save that line. I might need it for College of Dead Spring Break. If you love Dawn of the Dead, then you'll just eat up zombie.
Yeah,
and remember, it's okay for you to steal from them because they stole from George Romero.
Oh, great artists steal. Picasso said that.
That's true.
that emulate, not steal. Emulate. Artists don't steal; they emulate.
No, they steal.
I was going to say great artists steal.
There you go. There you go. There's Richard Johnson. There's a Conquistador zombie. I actually got to see this at my local Alamo Draft House in Yonkers. A grimy, greasy 35 millimeter print that was undoubtedly shown at like the Times Square grindhouses back in like 79 or 80. And that movie looked toe up, and the audience was just thrilled.
Brian, will you help me work on a screenplay for College of the Dead?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you seem like you'd be the right guy for it, my friend.
God, I would love. I would.
And Drew can get the movie made. We can put it together for 100 large.
Oh,
easily. For
Something like
100,
that?
yeah, we could get it done for a lot less than that. But yeah, 100 would well do it. Yeah.
I could go for less. We can crowdfund it if it's gonna be less.
No, it could be done for a lot less.
Jabba the Cock says back College of the Dead because Adam won't talk about it.
Oh, he will.
You guys missed me. Adam did talk about it.
I did talk about it
again.
earlier, but we're looking at zombie
some more.
Yeah, like a madman.
Now
you see that.
This is going to kill everybody's idea to buy this movie. You know what I mean?
Wait, there's no explicit text in this picture. However, there are scenes of violence which may be considered shocking. No one under 17 will be admitted.
That was but they need
explicit sex, though. You gotta
let a brother know.
Well, this was like I said. When Dawn of the Dead was released, it was released unrated. When Zombie was released here, it was released unrated. The whole point of that little disclaimer there was to let you know, like, if this gets an X rating or something, it's not porn.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
This is good. Yeah.
In the interest of public health, the management of this trailer will, upon request of any patron buying a ticket, provide patron with a barf bag, similar to those used for airline sickness. Thank you.
I guarantee you that if those exist anywhere, they've got to be selling on eBay for a fortune, because this is one of the true cult classics. I actually, oh God. I remember getting sent to the principal's office because I had the second issue of Fangoria, and I had the Conquistador zombie on the front, and it said in big bold letters, "We are going to eat you."
Ooh.
Boom! Right to the principal's office.
I love those warnings.
Oh, this is by a guy named Island Rocks, who is.
I need some kind of scary warning on College of the Dead Spring Break.
There you go.
You should have some kind of parental advisory. I would love to see that.
College of the Dead barf bag.
Yeah, I have one on Letterhead.
I have to talk to my brand associate, Carl O'Rourke, gives me advice and stuff like that. Carl has actually, of all of us, Carl's depth of thought about the aesthetics of what he's doing with Deathsworn is, next level craziness. So Vaughn is great with Monster MD as well, but I don't know. But Carl just has a special touch to this stuff.
Oh man,
so
that's looks awesome. I mean, the amount of talent that's in CG just blows my freaking mind.
It's outrageous, and it's like because
outrageous.
These are all passion projects that we can't we can't do without Comicsgate. We just kind of can't. But with Comicsgate, we kind of can. And
it's amazing that we're the place right now that you can get comics, because you can't get comics just about anywhere but Kickstarter and
comics anywhere else.
Yeah.
And as Adam said, every project is a passion project.
Yeah, passion project. Like Vaughn spent 10 years working on getting Monster MD done. Carl, I know, has been working on Deathsworn for years. And College of the Dead I've been working on for a bunch of years.
Six Gun, I've been working on for 6.
Yeah, you know how it is, man.
Captain Love for 5 years.
And John Malin, right? Graveyard Shift. It's one after another. John was working on Graveyard Shift for years, and doing it like in his spare time with his other paid projects. And then he had an opportunity to put that out. Ethan's lost love was Cyberfrog, which he went back to. Now he has a chance to do it. Can't do it without Comicsgate. So freaking 2010. Which I'm old, so it's like big deal. Fucking 10 years.
I know, right?
but still, 10 years it's a long time for anybody who's not 50. But no, still, it's you see that, and then it's when like people come in. There's these guys that I had on my channel earlier. They're doing a zombie book, and it's a little. Hold on, I know the name of it. Doomsday Kingdom, and it's a zombie story, and they've been working on it for a couple of years, and they have everything pretty much done. I think it's a couple more pages to finish. It could be like 100 pages. And very cool people. They are CG. I was the first CG channel they're on. I'm going to refer them out to a bunch of us other guys. And, hey, Charlie's London.
Hey, Charlie.
Good to see you. She's cool as hell.
Charlie, she's awesome.
But yeah, they've been working on this project for years, and they want to put their project out. So it's like everybody's like just thrilled to put their freaking projects out. That's what it's about.
Yep.
All right, Zombie. What is this one? Zombie 2? Is this
Now,
Zombie
Paul,
2 but
this
Zombie
is-
3 or what is this?
This is a tribute video. You need the audio for this. It's by an artist named Island Rocks. He did a disco version of the theme from Zombie.
Really?
Fabio Frizzi's theme. Yeah, check this out. I'm gonna go get myself some tea, but yeah, this is the shit.
We got to be careful. I can't just play this right through because that would definitely be a copyright infringement. So
You're very slick with this stuff, Drew. It's very good to watch that. Have you been hit with any yet?
Oh, quite a few in the past, but not tonight. So let's see
Okay.
here.
And what do? They will say you just can't monetize it. You don't get a
just send
phone
an email.
strike, right?
Yeah. They just basically give you an email saying that that you have a copyright strike and don't do anything if there's not a problem. It's likely that someone may be running ads on your video or
Okay.
So basically, what it means is you can't be monetized. However, got to be careful because sometimes if you do too many, like 2 or 3 or 4, you know what I mean, right back to back, they'll pull the video down.
Okay.
You know what
But
I mean?
you still
So-
don't wind up with a strike against you or anything.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't hurt the channel at all.
Because it
unless
shocked
you're
me that
actually-
with Ethan's Wrecked Planet campaign, I remember he was talking about I want to put this music behind it. It's big deal licensed music. And he put it up and I'm like, well, he's playing the actual song in his trailer. But it's like,
Right.
you can't monetize it, I guess is what it's at.
You can't monetize it, and sometimes if the person who owns the copyright says that they don't want it on your channel, and you have actually actually used their thing as commercially,
Okay.
they will pull it then. Yeah, and then
Okay.
if that happens, if they pull the video,
That could be a
then
strike.
yeah, then that will be a possible strike against your channel.
All right. So a couple seconds at a time. No problemo.
Yeah. I mean, and also there's tricks to size and all that kind of stuff and overlaying but yeah,
Size matters.
Yeah, size matters. Like I was saying earlier, they check both audio and video digitally separate. So sometimes if you're running the sound off and you're just showing imagery, you may not strike it. You can probably go a little bit of a longer run. I tend to like to bounce in between stills because it gives somebody to look at what we're talking. You know what I mean? So,
Cool,
like that, that's just a great still, and that's not going to give me any kind of strike at all. So it's just an approach that works. So anybody who wants to use clips in their videos on a live stream, that's the trick. Just do a few seconds at a time, and then obviously it doesn't work for anybody. I mean, if somebody wants to call you out on a copyright and you are using their video, and it's somebody who's looking to hurt you, you know what I mean? I would say just stay off their video. I would just say
stay off their video.
Yeah, definitely. We got Vinny in the chat too. Hail, Vinny.
Hey, Vin. Hey, Mandy. Charles
Mandy
London.
and let's see, Charlie's London. Of course, John Malin's still here. Let's see here. John Wick gun channel is fine. Not sure you'd cross that audience over very well easily here, but sure. I guess he's talking about something else I missed up above.
Mm-hmm.
There must be more to that conversation. Let's see here. We got Peter Gilmore in the chat. Hey, Peter. Good to see you, buddy. Got
looks just like him.
And Deanie, it does, doesn't it? It looks. This one looks a little bit like
Cecil. I miss Cecil. Poor Cecil. What happened to him? Where is he?
We got Man Bear Pig in the chat here. Did he really just call Jabba a sister?
He's got funny tweets.
That's funny. All right, so since we are waiting for Mr. to return with his tea, why don't we take that as a cue to come back and speak a little bit about College of the Dead.
College of the Dead.
Now I'm really proud of Adam here for racking up the 17.5. It's just kicking butt, man. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, well, I look, I had so much support from Comicsgate, but I got this thing where I really like to offer these books once they are done. So I was able to ship the first book on time, and I think that really helped. because people kind of knew, like, all right, yes, you're going to back it and you're going to get it, and it's going to come pretty soon. The last campaign in the first 60 days ended at $5,300, and we blew past that. I think within the first 2 weeks or so. There was that funny drama with Mike. Is that noise on my end?
Well, hello. No, that was the thunder in the video that Mr.
Oh,
E
okay.
started.
Hey, Mr.
I'm
Oh,
gonna,
yeah.
I'm going to treat everybody with this video since we have a bunch of people.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
chat that
cool.
may not have seen it. So
Yeah, this was a fan trailer that Bronson Gorilla sent me. I had no input on it. I just loved it. It was great. So
let's give this a gander.
yeah, let's check it out.
It really does have a feel of the old zombie movies.
Doesn't
Yeah.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It really has that. It really does have that grindhouse creeper feel going on in a
It's-
good way.
It's a great job.
That's
Hail
hosted at
Bronson Gorilla.
hosted at my Adam Post Speaks YouTube channel, and I'm at like 949 subs. I'm getting very close to 1,000. So yeah, definitely sub me over there. You are making a difference. Once I get to 1,000 subs, crazy shit's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be Adam's going berserk. You got to 1,000 subs.
He's gonna pierce his nipples and wear little body chains.
I have no idea. Anything's possible. You think Ethan has all the crazy hats? You wait till you see. Wait till you see.
Hats you can just take off. There's like no commitment there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all right. You don't have to have a commitment.
Like tattoos or something.
Results. We want results. Yeah, maybe a tattoo that says 1,000. I have Jewish family members and stuff though, from like Poland and stuff. So probably no numbers with the tattoos.
Yeah,
Probably can't do
the
that.
numbered tattoos would be in bad taste.
Yeah, can't do that. But no tattoos anyway. Can't get buried in Jewish cemeteries if you have a tattoo. Not that that's like my number one objective.
I got lots of Jewish peeps who have tats, but
they're not getting buried in a Jewish cemetery.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's like
that's not their priority. But
yeah, they're yeah. My Jewish peeps are mostly secular.
Hail to the chat.
Oh yeah, you don't even have to stop this.
Yeah. So
hey, maybe I should do something like this. It's like a dancey trailer.
Yeah, Island Rocks is very easy to get a hold of. I actually was thinking about getting him to do the soundtrack for a book I'm working on called Slag Virus. Because he does really good. He's very good at creating modern music that sounds like it's from like Italian exploitation movies from like the early 80s. Believe it or not, that's a thing. There's certain composers, yeah, and they're freaking great. Checking out the chat here. Liam, hail Liam. Liam is a very very on top of it brother.
Yep.
And Charlie's talking about setting up a YouTube channel. Ladies of Comicsgate are killing it without a doubt. I've watched those hen parties. Well, I mean that's what they call them in England. That's what they're called. I mean, no offense, not a zombie movie.
Not a zombie movie.
Not a zombie movie.
See, that's where we get Mr. Strict coming at us.
That is really strict.
They're not. No, I mean they're not dead. They're living, breathing human beings. They have the rage virus. Another one that's not a zombie movie.
Do they eat? Like, what do they eat? People?
No, they don't eat. That's the thing. Is they
Don't they die if they don't eat?
Yeah, and you see that at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, you see that at the end. At a certain point, the virus just burns itself out because there's no new people to infect, and they just die because they have no sense of self-preservation.
Okay. That's cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's not try that, even though we're in a perfect situation for it right now. Let's not try it.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for. Yeah.
I mean, what an opportunity if you think about it.
Absolutely. If you're looking for a more contemporary zombie movie that I think was really impressive, hasn't got. Oh, sorry, Zombieland. Zombieland is a zombie movie for people that don't like zombie movies. They're like too scared.
That's what you say. I like all of them.
That's fine. That's fine. I look. We agreed to agree to disagree. It's boring if we agree on everything.
Yeah, I like all of them.
Yeah, that's all good. The opening credits of Zombieland, however.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
it's epic.
This is not a movie. This is a series. A lot of people like The Walking Dead.
Also a comic book?
There's also a comic book, Walking Dead. Anybody got some input on this? Who watches The Walking Dead here?
I gave
I
up.
watched
on
the first 5 seasons, I think.
I've watched every episode, but it's shit.
They lost a lot of people in season
garbage.
5. Season 5 is when they like humiliated Daryl and all of them in the season opener. It's like that. There were women that just loved to watch Daryl, like just Daryl around and stuff like that.
Yep.
Much like John Maylining, but separate, Daryling around. It's like they humiliate all the characters. It's like, you know what? This is just too effing depressing.
Yeah,
they should have.
I actually think the show got better once they brought Negan in. And I love watching Jeffrey Dean Anderson being very Jeffrey Dean Anderson-y.
That would be ish,
but it's still shit.
Yeah.
It's still a junk. It's still a junky show, So, but I've watched every episode.
At least it's gotten more diverse. That much you can say.
Yeah.
Did they have a deaf character this last season? Like, how would a deaf character possibly survive?
Social justice.
Yeah.
Because this was one of the first shows that got totally socially justified.
Yeah.
And when the social justice warriors realized, like, oh my God, like I did that. That character's there because of me and what I did on Twitter. They really started going into little details. There was a big thing where they were like, how come the women on Walking Dead don't have armpit hair? We want armpit hair. Why? Social justice.
The gasoline wouldn't even work in the cars. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a crappy show, but the makeup effects are great, and that's really kind of why I watch it. And there are the occasional great episodes, and there are the occasional great moments where I find myself saying, Romero.
Did you watch that TV show, Z Nation? Did you watch any of that?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
I watched around the first season of it.
Did you see the movie too?
I saw the second one.
Oh,
they had a movie?
There was a movie?
Black Summer. Why didn't I think of Black Summer?
They made a movie of Z Nation?
Was it called Z Nation or was it just called Z? What was the name of that movie?
World War Z.
No, World War Z. No. Z Nation was
World War Z is based on a absolutely stunning novel by Max Brooks, who is the son of Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah. And it's a really it's a classic, an instant classic. The rights were purchased by Brad Pitt, and they purchased the rights just so they could have the title, because the movie World War Z has nothing to do with the source material, nothing. And it's a real shame. It's a real shame because World War Z would make an absolutely incredible TV series or TV miniseries. Oh God. Shite.
Are you gagging on this movie?
Shite. Absolute shite. Dead Set is a really good one. Dead Set was a miniseries on the BBC, which is set in a house like where they shoot Big Brother, right? You're familiar with the game show, the TV game show Big Brother?
Sure.
right? So they're totally isolated from the rest of the world, and then suddenly there's a zombie outbreak, right? A zombie apocalypse, and they're in this house, and they're completely like oblivious to it. It's very, very good. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. Dead Set. Check it out.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah,
Agreed.
World
What
War
was
Z
it was done?
Garbage.
And I agree with was it Stu? What I was saying that Z Nation was a fun watch. It was not a great zombie series, but it was a fun.
It's not
watch.
trying to be. It's not trying to be. What I highly recommend, and Drew, you should look up the trailer for this. Very pleasant surprise is Black Summer, which is actually, you wouldn't think it from watching it, is actually a spin-off of Z Nation. But it's on another level. Imagine, like you've seen the Dawn of the Dead remake, right? Remember the beginning of that? How stunning that was?
Mm-hmm.
That scene where Sarah Polly wakes up and she's in the ninth circle of hell.
Yeah.
And there are like zombies everywhere.
Yeah, the zombie that's running after the car then jumps on the guy that's passing by. It was funny.
Yes. Imagine that turned into a 8-episode miniseries. It's very good. I highly recommend
Black
it.
Summer?
It's on Netflix. It's called Black Summer.
Going right now. Let me put that in my list. Done.
So, what are the characters about in this movie?
Well, they're people that are trying. They're survivors. They're different people who are thrown together. The girl that you saw there, the young Asian lady, is one of my favorite characters. She's a Korean girl who doesn't speak a lick of English. So she's in America during a zombie outbreak, a zombie apocalypse, and she doesn't speak English. And she's like paired up with this Hispanic brother that has just commandeered a car from a guy that stole a car from another woman. And you get very attached to these characters. And there are some scenes that are really moving, I think. Like when these characters are separated and then they're reunited and they throw hugs around each other. It's top notch. Oh yeah, it's by John Hyams, the son of director Peter Hyams, who also did another absolutely superb horror movie called Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning. Which is a Universal Soldier sequel, but it's really a balls-out horror movie. What did you think of this, John? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the thing with 28 Weeks Later is the only problem with that movie is that the opening sequence in that is so stunning that the rest of the movie can't live up to it.
I lost my daughter. I need to go to the stadium.
Yeah, so basically this is a young lady who is separated from her family, from her child, her daughter. Her husband's dead, and she's joined up with a bunch of other survivors, and they're trying to get to a safe zone.
Happens.
Yeah.
See what there.
Yeah. I think that you'll find this way more engaging than you would expect.
It looks pretty intense.
It is. It's very good. It's very good. John Hyams is I think one of the great future horror directors, because I've seen 2 horror movies by him now that have been spectacular.
I'm sitting there with the popcorn. I love it.
Yeah. Listening to Brian, actually.
Yeah. So this one actually looks like it would be good to watch.
It's very easy. It's accessible. It's on Netflix, people. Check it out. Black Summer.
I want to check out that other one you mentioned, Dead Set.
Dead Set. That's really good. It's very clever, very Romero esque in terms of its social satire.
What is Dead Set? It's not like a porn, is it?
No. Dead Set. It's like that's the one that's it's about like the people that are in the Big Brother house. Big Brother. It's a British game show where I think there's an American version of it.
Is it called Dead Set Serious? The American version?
No. It's so basically you have these people. They go into this house.
Is this a 2008 movie?
It's a reality show.
No, they're on a. It's basically as if George Romero did a zombie movie about reality TV. It has fast zombies. That's the only problem I have with it.
Grayson,
yes.
Marky, and Pippa, 3 little piggies. But who's going to be squealing all the way home tonight? Someone's coming!
So go ahead. It's a reality show premise.
Yeah,
and
it's Big Brother.
The element. It's like Big Brother.
Right. So what happens in Big Brother, evidently, I've never seen it before, is they go into seclusion. They all go into this house and they have to live with each other. Well, when they go into this house and are secluded, a zombie apocalypse occurs outside, and they're completely oblivious to it. It's very good. It's very good. I like I like this one a lot. And I forget how many episodes it is. I think they're like 20-minute episodes, but there's like 10 of them or something. I think ultimately, if you binge it, it's probably like a 2.5-hour movie.
So would you call it an adventurous action film, or is it like
it's a little bit like Shaun of the Dead, but it's much darker.
And
it's actually
where can we find that?
Netflix.
Netflix too? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You got it. That's what I'm here for.
Might as well keep my Netflix open.
I gotta be useful for something.
On Netflix, baby. On Netflix. Until you can get College of the Dead, settle for Dead Set.
Yes, definitely. College of the Dead is one to check out. Definitely, if you like zombies, if you are a zombie nut, a zombie fanatic, then
even if you're just nuts and you don't like zombies,
and you're a sick freak, yeah. If you're a sick freak,
collegeofthedead.com.
Yeah, and so Adam, you have a tier where people can buy the previous book with Graduation Day, right?
We do. We have a set where you can get the current book, Graduation Day, and the previous book, the prequel. And it's in continuity, but you can just get the current book and you'll still be able to follow what's going on. It's just cooler to be able to get the whole thing. And that's actually the featured tier, the prequel and the Party Attack cover. And then we have another one where it's the prequel and the Graduation Day cover where they're holding the diplomas. But you can also pick out any one item and then add on whatever you want to in the add-ons. So order processing is going to be a little complicated for me, but people can just get whatever the heck it is that they want and make their packages of it. So you can follow it. Yeah, I keep getting Ethan. Every time I'm on Ethan, he's always like, this is going to be a movie. It's probably like the first Comicsgate-based movie. I'm like, well, let's see. Let's see what happens.
That's the first thing. That's the first thing I said when I told you what I thought is like it read like reading storyboards for a movie. You know, with a comic premise on it, which I thought was very original and it read like it needed to be made into a movie. I mean, it really would make a good zombie movie.
If you're looking for a screenwriter,
you could be the guy.
First of all, hail Peter Gilmore in the Fish Hizzy.
Yeah.
And he says Dead Set was made using cast and crew from the UK Big Brother show in the Big Brother house.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's a good trivia.
I did not know that.
That's really cool.
See, I knew CG UK would come correct.
Yeah, CG UK always brings the pain.
Yeah, man.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep. There's a tradition of doing this too.
I'm wondering how that works into this. It's like I don't get to follow all these comments.
There's a oh God. Why am I so suddenly blanking on the name? Ghostwatch. There's a BBC movie called Ghost Watch that's really, really scary, and that what they did was they used actual like TV show news hosts so that people would think it was like, so it would give the proceedings a sense of legitimacy. And
Yeah.
it worked too well because it caused a War of the Worlds Orson Welles style hysteria.
Oh, what was that movie?
Ghost Watch.
Ghost Watch. How cool.
It's on Shudder, I think. Highly recommend that. It's one of the few horror movies that that genuinely like had me going.
Yeah, wow.
Takes a lot to rattle me.
Yeah, as far as horror movies, I mean, considering you probably like build your tolerance level up to a whole nother place.
Oh, horror fans, like on All Talk Horror, we always used to have like these discussions where we were like jealous of people that were like easily scared. You know, where it's just like, oh man, we're like so jaded. It's like nothing scares us anymore. But then when we find something that actually does give us the heebie-jeebies, then we know that it's really terrifying, and then we can heartily recommend it to our more sensitive friends.
Okay, so let's see, what other zombie movie should we dive
Dead.
into here?
Zombieland, the intro.
Oh yeah, the opening credits to that.
The opening credit is sick.
Zombieland, the intro. We can probably
Yeah.
look that up. We can
Very
probably
metal.
look
Or what was it? Return of the Living Dead. We didn't see it. That
yeah.
one's amazing.
Oh my
Charlie is telling people about porn films. Charlie's London in the chat.
Oh, there is a zombie porno movie that was made in 1980 by Joe D'Amato. It's called Erotic Nights of the Living Dead.
Oh.
And it's basically like you got porno in my zombie movie. You got zombie movie in my porno movie. And they're two great tastes that don't really taste great together.
No. Okay.
But I got it's worth a watch if you're a sick bastard like
I wish I could tell you that this was still.
Yeah, we can't just sit and watch this in this 4 minutes. We'll get us struck. So let's.
Jesus, 4 minutes is the trailer? Oh, it's opening scene. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zombies in suits. Watch out for that.
Well, we're running zombies, so that means that the virus, works really fast.
So you wanna do the premise of Zombieland, since it is a zombie movie, even though it's not technically horror.
Simon, do you want to take this one? Because I'm not really a fan.
I think I like it because it's like a survival guide to zombie. That's the premise of it. It's the presentation of it. It stars like rule number 1. And you have the
double tap,
the double tap, you'll always check under the door when you go to the bathroom. And every time they show you an example of it, like it's funny, but it's not made to be a comedy at all. It's just the way that it's presented that it is, and the interaction between the people. And I think it's funny that they don't tell each other their name; they call each other by the state they come from.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a monster movie with a comedic edge, is what it is.
And it has a really great performance by Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson is like I think maybe one of the most underrated American actors. I've seen him even when he's in horrible movies, he's always terrific. That's a guy who's always very present and brings his A game.
And the intro is with the Metallica song.
Yeah.
Come on, how can you not like it as soon as it starts?
Yeah, the Bill Murray scene was great.
I like the opening credits, but that's
my friends. This is now the United States.
And of course, the Bill Murray scene is pretty damn funny.
Yeah, the Bill Murray.
It's amazing how quickly.
Yeah, that's just like one of those
there we
crazy scenes.
Oh, there's a
Rule number 1 for
it's a
surviving
football.
Zombieland.
Cardio.
Yeah.
Struck. For obvious reasons, the first ones to go were the fatties.
That's likely true too. You know what I mean? Because that's like,
Sure.
the most desirable eating.
Poor fat bastard.
They ain't gonna get away.
But as the infection spread and the chaos grew, It wasn't enough to just be fast on your feet. You had to get a gun and learn how to use it. Which leads me to my second
Guns run out of ammo.
And I like the fact that the words are just there in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just funny.
Visually interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying that it's. I wasn't especially crazy about it, and it's very much like a zombie movie for like regular folks.
It doesn't leave you feeling with dread like you want from your horror movies.
In those moments when you're not sure the undead are really dead, don't get all stingy with your bullets. I mean, one more clean shot to the head.
Yeah.
And this lady could have avoided becoming a human Happy Meal. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Delta Spurg Force says a Dawn of the Dead box set with all 3 different versions is amazing. Yeah, it is. I've got the Italian Blu-ray, son. I've got the Italian Blu-ray. You cannot get the Dawn of the Dead with all 3 cuts in the United States. You can't get a that hasn't been released in the United States, but the Nicholas Winding Refn released a version in Europe. That so look for that. Look for that if you want that shit on Blu-ray. Definitely check
Justin
it out.
says that Zombieland 2 is horrible. Damn.
Yeah, I don't have any interest really.
Zombies began to get clever. When you're at your most vulnerable, somehow they could just smell it.
Can a guy take a dumper in peace?
No.
Not in this movie.
Yeah, that is probably like one of the most vulnerable places you could be if you're in mid shit. You know what I mean? That's a very vulnerable feeling. I've often like been in a public bathroom that like having to take a dump and like
What is this, Cecil's channel?
The only
Cecil's channel was Poop Stories last Saturday night.
I hate having to do a number 2 like anywhere but my own bathroom.
I'm just saying, like you go to those restaurants that have just a toilet and a sink and maybe a urinal, you know what I mean? And they don't lock the door, so you're in there and you're like, you hear somebody come walking in, and then they walk up to the door and they're like right outside the door, and you're like,
right,
yeah, do you mind? It's occupied.
Saturday, yeah. Drew's in here. Just tell him Drew's in here.
Drew's in
that
here.
Drew guy, the legend.
Hey,
Gonna get your autograph.
Yep.
Michael Green's asking a question there. Question for the chat. All right. Okay. If I was going to show my son, age 14 and 12, their first zombie flick, other than TWD, The Walking Dead, what should it be?
Night of the Living Dead.
Start with College of the Dead. Ease them in with a graphic novel.
Well,
Shipping June 2020.
I'd say Shaun of the Dead.
Gore-wise, if they're already watching
John's like,
Dead,
one more story. No more.
Yeah. I would say Night of the Living Dead. But then again, not everybody raises their kids watching black and white films, so they might not be able to suspend their disbelief and might not be able to connect with it. I don't know. One more poop story. If anybody's ever
he's not being literal about that.
Sharded themselves.
Yeah, I see what I mean.
So humiliating. It's just like, really? It's just like I'm like a baby again. I'm lucky. I've only ever sharded myself at home, never in public.
Yeah,
that's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's humiliating.
That would be unpleasant.
Was the sequel any good?
Rule number 3: beware.
I didn't watch the sequel. There was a sequel to this, wasn't there?
Yeah. Just came out.
I understand it was terrible. So.
As zombies began to,
like the lady's haircut was. You see that haircut?
Yep.
Unfortunate.
As zombies began to outnumber humans, well, that's when you had to cut all emotional ties. If the girls in your neighborhood are now fucked up little monsters, well, maybe it's time to stop driving carpool. You had to focus on your own survival, which leads to rule number 4. Pretty basic. Fasten your seatbelts.
Nunya Business says, "Did you see Soul Station? It's an animated sequel. A very good story. Yeah, that's I think a sequel or a prequel, animated prequel or sequel to Train to Busan." And no, I haven't. It's been on my list for a while. And actually, the sequel to Train to Busan is coming out. It's called Peninsula, and the trailer for that actually looks really good. And if you guys don't know about Train to Busan, it's a South Korean movie. South Korea, holy crap, man! They have been coming strong with their cinema. I've been producing awesome movies and some very, very good horror films too.
How do they do that?
Drew, you definitely have to pull out the Return of the Living Dead before we close the
Oh
show.
my goodness!
You know what? It must be.
So
If
ashamed.
South Korea is doing well, it must be their whole community is fucking awesome, like Comicsgate.
Yep.
Because that's where you get the best work.
Absolutely.
Strong community. You don't do it completely in isolation.
No, never. Especially in a collaborative medium. Cinema is a collaborative medium, so is comics. Unless you're like a wonderkind virtuoso, auteur like Frank Miller or Matt Wagner or one of these cats.
Oh, Frank Miller, he did his work over at Marvel under Jim Shooter. It wasn't. They gave him the framework to work in. All those guys are doing their best work under the limitations of Marvel's editorial structure.
I've always found limitations.
My name is Carl.
More creative.
And I have help.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be like, don't trust China. China is that sword.
Oh, cool.
That movie, like, I saw it after all the other zombie movies, and I'm like, dude, how come I never knew about this?
Saw it during its initial theatrical release day one, and this was back in my punk rock days, because me and my punk rock friends went to see this.
Yeah, the punker chick in this movie was pretty hot.
Oh yeah, quickly.
Yeah, I was 12 back then.
I'm
Yeah, she was definitely masturbatory material.
Oh wait, this is Return of the Living Dead Part 2.
No, it's part 2. Yeah, it's part 1.
Ooh. I hate that movie.
Well, this is a sequel? I forgot they did this.
It's a sequel to Return of the Living Dead, which is a classic. What's so great about it is that I'm sorry, Simon?
Isn't it in 86, the original one?
Yep. And the soundtrack is totally punk rock. You got punk rock characters in there.
There you go. That's the right one.
Yeah.
85.
In the dark of the night, something strange is going on.
That's one I'm surprised. It is a bit funny on the side. I'm surprised you like.
Oh no,
that
there's definitely comedic edge in this one.
Well, that's because this did it right. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And you got 45 Grave, you got the Cramps, you got Rocky Erickson, you got a killer soundtrack, killer punk rock soundtrack to this.
Yep.
Hey everybody, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit that subscribe button and come back on next Monday. We do this every week. So.
Yep. Please do. That's the moment. That's the moment when everybody, like at least in my group, because we went into this movie with trepidations because we're like, oh, it's like Return of the Living Dead, but it's not Romero. And James Caron leans over and says, "Have you ever seen that movie, Night of the Living Dead?" And that's when we knew that this was going to be good, because immediately it's like okay, it's telling you this is not like a George Romero movie. It's not trying to be a George Romero movie. This is its own thing.
Say hello.
Yeah.
The question is, how do
Linnea Quigley was yummy.
Into the ground.
Oh yeah, these zombies are not only fast, they're smart.
Mm-hmm.
So you really are fucked.
and
10 right. No.
That's one of the funniest scenes, though. The naked zombie running around.
And my favorite line: "You mean the movie lied?"
Everything, stupid asshole! Watch your tongue, boy, if you like this job! Like this job!
Ah,
the
there's
makeup in this movie
Man.
was great. Yeah.
The Tar Man, yeah. The actor that they got to play him was a mime who did this
Oh, that's great.
really, really, really skinny, right? So he looks, like something. It was very easy to make him look like a cadaver, and the way he moves his body, like his joints aren't like necessarily together, is incredible.
Yeah, it's a great job from mine.
Now, am I incorrect in thinking that this is the first time that the whole term brains, they actually said brains?
Yes.
And
Yes, it
this
is.
Yeah,
is the
this
first
is
movie,
it.
right?
This is it.
Medical science is back.
It's a puzzle.
I just like she falls to the
O'Bannon.
stairs. It's like one of those things that you get in basically only in horror movies where like something will fall apart just at the wrong moment.
Yeah, although it's established too, like it's mentioned earlier, like watch that step.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you eat people?
That's just good writing, though.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that's a wonderful scene where they capture one of the zombies and interrogate it.
That's the reason why I like Shaun of the Dead. It reminded me a bit of that type of movie.
Oh yeah, Shaun of the Dead is great.
Except that and Romero type of thing.
Yeah, and this is all puppetry right here.
Animatronics, absolutely.
Yeah.
They had the budget cut on them while they were filming this, and Dan O'Bannon wasn't happy with how it turned out. But as the years went by, he found that his fondness for it grew. And I have to agree that, I enjoyed it when it first came out, but time has been very, very kind to this movie.
Another poop story.
Well, it does. John, in your defense, it's not just a comedy. It does have some moments of genuine, intense horror. That was my problem with Zombieland. It didn't have any real horror. This actually has some real horror.
Let me think. It's not a bad question, Bert. In that movie, they destroyed the brain to kill him. Is that what they did? The brain, right?
Brains. Home run.
Doesn't work.
It worked in the movie. You mean the movie lied?
The military is nervous.
That's the thing that I liked about those is that dude, they could be just an arm and they still try to kill you.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you totally screwed with them.
They won't stop.
And they're smart. Yeah, exactly. Zombies that can think.
And one of my favorite scenes is when he goes into the cop car.
And
he calls for backup. The zombie calls for backup just to wait for lunch.
Send more paramedics. Yeah. That's Dan O'Bannon right there.
Send more cops.
Drew, thank you. Was it Simon that mentioned that we had to
show that one. It's one of my all-time favorite zombie movies.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Well, it ain't working now. Brain the movie live? It's not a
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I forgot that was the trailer.
That's just crazy.
It's not a bad question, Bert. It's not a bad.
Yeah, very good.
There's another great one.
Do you ever think that modern life is not for you? Do you do the same dead-end job every day?
Well, we don't have to do the whole trailer. It's well set up. Most people know.
The opening credits where everybody's off to their jobs and they're walking around like zombies.
And I know the other ones have nothing to do with zombies, but this is a Cornetto trilogy. It's Shaun of the Dead, The Hot Fuzz, and
yep. And this was basically inspired by an episode of Spaced, which was
Religious groups are calling it
a show of Edgar Wright and the cast of this.
Great
And
show.
yeah, and there's like a moment where like one of the characters has been like up like for too long playing Resident Evil, and they have like a hallucination.
Physical contact with the assailants.
Right, it's from his sofa.
He's got his arm off.
So, what's the plan? Bash him in the head. That seems to work out. Why have you got to go lizard? Because I love her. All right, gay.
They think that she's just some drunk chick.
Yeah.
Right.
Until she gets impaled.
Right. Excellent zombie maker too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a fun movie. This is really cool.
It's very
It is
good.
a really fun movie.
Yeah.
And like I said, Romero was very fond of it.
They advertised this a lot in comics. I remember there were like a lot of full page ads in comics for this.
You're right. You're right. I remember that actually.
Yep.
He's got the
Similar
Winnie.
fan bases. Horror fans and comic fans are basically, not far.
Yeah,
from each other.
very common. Star Wars also. We have huge Star Wars crossover.
I'm not British. Love the hell out of it.
Yep. Yep, same here. And like I said, Romero loved this because it did something with his zombies that
But
was.
you know that Romero went to visit them on scene. They wanted him there. Then that's when he invited them to be zombies in his next movie.
Yeah, I know it's very 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 cool. And Land of the Dead, was a disappointment, but it's not a terrible movie. It's just it was. You take the man's money, you're gonna have to make your movie the man's way.
Right. That is definitely the truth.
Was that one of Romero's small budget movies though? He did a few of these that were small budget.
They were all low budget. He was an indie guy to the core, and for Land, that was finally him able to work with a big budget. Day of the Dead was supposed to have like a $20 million budget, but the producers were like, "Okay, we'll invest in this movie." He had written like the script, the screenplay. By the way, it would have been the greatest zombie movie ever if he'd been able to shoot it right. But he had a choice. He could either turn in an R-rated movie and it would have a $20 million budget, or he could go for the gusto, have all the gore, and make it for $4 million. And he chose the latter because he felt that if he toned it down, that it would have been betraying the fans.
Yeah.
And Land of the Dead, it's like I said, it's not a bad movie, but it's disappointing in many respects. The soundtrack, for one thing, is entirely forgettable. John Carpenter offered his services. It was like, I'll do the music. And the producers just weren't interested. It's like I said, not a bad movie, but it's not what it might have been.
I like the ending, and I like the fact that the zombies gained they weren't smart,
they
but they were getting back their own like traits and
they're evolving
their habits, like going back. Like if you was like a guy at the gas station, you would go back there and start like, trying to pump gas. Yeah. And they learned to walk on the bottom of the ocean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a killer scene when they emerge from the water. That's really creepy. The mall
like you
music,
said, not a great movie, not an awesome movie. A good one. It's good, and it has its moments.
Yeah, it does. It's just disappointing because it could have been so much more.
Yeah.
I know you're out there. I can see you. Running, hiding, killing, surviving.
In accordance with the emergency executive orders, you've been selected for exposure to an experimental substance.
So, Z Nation, any fans here?
I like season
It's
1.
okay.
2 turn a bit SJW-ish.
Well, one of the problems they had was they kept changing what the world was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, well, the zombies can do this, then they can do that, Then they had like, I don't know, they have fucking witches and stuff.
And they had
like,
the guy with his blue skin that could control them by
the guy that
people
can
by biting
control
them.
the zombie. It's like when you start changing the foundations of the world that you're in,
Exactly.
you that's the story. It's too big of a story. Like if you're like, all right, well, the aliens just invaded the planet. Guess what? That's a very big story. You know, that's pretty much the whole story. And
Well,
like,
they turn out
the
not to
alien.
be aliens, but
No, not that I'm saying just in this sense of like setting something up. You can even have the most fantastical world, but tell people what the rules of the world are,
exactly,
so they can then suspend disbelief, accept all of your craziness, which is fine.
It has to be consistent.
And then tell the story. You know, then tell the story of the characters. That's what we can relate to. But it's sort of like everything is relative. So we can think of like, oh, I had a great day. I had a terrible day. It's all in context. How could you ever have a great day if you can't leave your house all day? Or how could you ever have a terrible day if it meant that you're not going to get sick because you don't leave your house? So, it's all in context. And you can then you can appreciate and relate to things in context. But if you don't know what the context is, then nothing that happens means anything. So there's no relatability. There's no characterization. It's all shit.
I totally agree, Adam. You have to establish the laws of your world, and because even when you're especially when you're dealing with fantasy, and because your disbelief isn't light; it's heavy. It requires an effort to suspend it, as Stephen King said. And you have to obey the laws of your world. You have to lay them down, and you have to obey them. What was it that? Somebody mentioned Rec. William Noblin mentioned Rec 2. Rec, by the way, REC. That's a terrific Spanish horror film, but they're not zombies. They're demons. They're possessed human beings. You find out at first you think they're zombies, and then you discover no, they're demons. And then Mandy's talking about Halloween 3. Yeah, Halloween 3 would be a classic. I consider it a classic. It would be considered a classic if it wasn't called Halloween 3. They fucked up.
They should have called it Halloween Spring Break.
Or Season of the Witch, or whatever, something, And it's like, Michael Myers is not in this movie. Because people went to see it. Like, I went to see it, and I knew that Michael Myers wasn't in the movie. I knew what they were trying to do. They were going to just make more horror movies that were set on Halloween, set during Halloween, and had to do with the holiday. And, and that Michael Myers wasn't going to be in it. So I went to see it, and I loved it, and still love it. And but everybody else was like, well, where the fuck is Michael Myers?
Yeah, because that's what they thought was going to come. Yeah.
Exactly.
How are you on apocalypse movies?
So
I love apocalyptic horror.
All right,
obscurity here.
Yeah.
See if you can get it.
All right.
Whoa. Denise, what's her face? She went to our high school. Now she's a stripper.
Man,
Is she been not impossible to break?
pretty handy.
I'm a scout.
Like an actual scout.
Yeah.
Nice things.
That was hilarious.
Tonight's the secret party, right? Everybody except the douchebag.
Dude, something's wrong with
Remember that scene where they're falling out the window and they're hanging out the zombie's trunk?
Oh my god!
Yeah, I haven't seen this. You see, one of the problems is right now there are so many horror movies, and especially there's so many zombie movies, that if there are any good ones, they sort of have a tendency to get lost in the shuffle. And even the most devoted horror fans can't keep up with just the sheer overwhelming amount of content. So, basically a lot of us, we're just like, okay, 5-10 years, that's when we're going to find out which of these movies are worth watching. But you would say that this is worth checking out? Simon?
Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's a fun watch. Like, it's not like... it's like watching a type of Zombieland type of thing. Like, it's scouts, and they get stuck in there, and they're young, and... Dude, it goes to the point that they come to fall off like a window and they're hanging off a zombie's dick. And it rips off. They're going really far.
Oh, God. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but the peen goes like way into the body. and it's still peen.
Heather.
Like a.
Juan of the Dead made in Cuba.
Any more questions?
So obviously that one is more of a
Comedy.
teen friendly satire.
Not teen friendly.
No.
No, you see boobs, you see a dick, you see nudity, full on nudity.
Peter Gilmore mentions Wormwood. That's one of the one. Peter, is that the one that's kind of like Mad Max with zombies? It's like one of the Wormwood.
It's a zombie apocalypse. Come on, we're scouts. We're trained for this.
It looks fun.
What is that? It's a bomb. What are you, the Taliban?
Berlin Undead. That's another good one. That's worth checking out. I think that's on Netflix.
Remember Pride and Prejudice with zombies was supposed to come out years ago? They never did it.
No, it came out.
Did it?
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Oh, wow. Very forgettable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, there's just such a glut of content. It's the best of times and the worst of times to be a horror fan.
Bloody Disgusting is making movies now? Jeez.
Are they really? Well, Fangoria's making movies.
All right, so is it in the trailer that they're using the white flashes, or do they do that in the movie?
No, that's the trailer. This is cool. Yeah, quite good.
So tell us about this movie, The Berlin Undead.
It's about a guy that's just, broken up with his girlfriend, which makes it sound like it's like Shaun of the Dead, but it's not. It's been a while since I've seen it, and I can't really talk about it I can't talk about the plot without dropping like spoilers. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like zombie apocalypse in Berlin with some very interesting protagonists and a solid heart to it too, I would say. Like I would say that this one's emotional.
It kind of feels like it has that from looking at the way that it's shot. It kind of feels like it has a little bit of like daytime TV pacing.
It's not. It's definitely not. Germany also coming out with great, amazing movies and TV shows right now. Yes, remember Berlin Undead. You're definitely highly recommended. Yeah, so it's like South Korea and Germany coming very strong.
And don't forget to go back College of the Dead.
Don't forget to go back College of the Dead. Do we want to take another look at those at those perkies?
The Adam Post perks.
And Charlie, you say that Jabba just hates you? No, nobody hates you, Charlie.
No.
We love it. Everybody loves Ladies of Comics Gate. You and Mandy and Piper and all the Ladies of Comics Gate. Hail, hail, hail! We love it.
Charlie's cool. I watched too many horrors on Amazon and Netflix. Problem is, I just watched them and not taking the names as I watched them by genre, so I can't remember the names of some great B-list ones I've seen. My goodness, write them down for God's sake.
Yes, it's important.
John's mailing around.
Zombie film producers, there's no way people will watch zombie movies for the next 50 years with essentially the same plot. Society, hold our beer.
It's a genre.
Yep.
It's a genre.
It's a subgenre.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
But no one's done it quite like this before. College of the Dead Graduation Day, except of course for the prequel, College of the Dead Book 1. But this book is complete, and here comes my trailer.
And on that, I'm going to get a quick refill.
Cost you an arm and a leg, but it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to get the graphic novel.
You
Yeah,
love it. Gotta love
College
it.
of the Dead, baby.
So
Go back it
let's see
now.
here.
Yep, back it good. Collegeofthedead.com. I'll take
Back
you
it
right
hard.
Back it once, back it twice, back it often.
Back it
Back
nice.
it hard. Back it hard.
Exactly right.
Back it rough. Back it really rough.
You can back it that way. Yes, the book is complete. It's going to be shipping June 2020. There are a few different cool variant covers. You can get the first book as well if you want to. We are working on the third book now. That'll be shipping January 2021. So we're really excited about it. It's doing really, really well. Comicsgate has been treating us great. And definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel, AdamPostSpeaks.com, where I am forced to speak a lot more because it's my own YouTube channel. And I do say a lot more things. And Brian hasn't been on yet. As you know,
You've never been
Scott,
on his channel? He's not even there. I was gonna
yeah,
ask if he's
Brian
on.
hasn't been on yet. He's going to have to be. Both of you guys have to be. Simon,
Yeah, you know, I've been on your, you know what? I've been on your channel once. It was like when I first came into Comicsgate, and we were talking about, we got off track, and we were talking about, SEO and like building a YouTube channel, and
Oh,
like
okay.
that was way back in the day. Yeah.
Oh, that was an actual show?
No, it just came up while we were talking about like my book and stuff, and
Oh, cool. Very cool. Yep, we'll definitely have to have you on Adam Post Speaks. Talk a lot about it. Yeah, I'm really psyched by College of the Dead. It's done really, really well. It is the book 3 is by the same artist and writer with book 1 and book 2. So I'm collaborating with those guys. We're making it awesome. And I really do love zombies, but I mean, I love comics and I love a lot of genres. So I've got other stuff coming out as well soon after this. But it's publish one at a time and work on many things at once.
I mean, you got the you can get the prequel and the book itself in 2 variations. Looks like here on these tiers.
Yeah. There are 3 different covers.
Mhm.
The party attack one, we call that. She's being attacked at the party by the zombies. We have the regular graduation day cover. And we have the hot torch cover is what we call it. She's surrounded by zombies about to get attacked, but not yet attacked. And that was actually Kyle Ritter's idea for that cover and the lighting source. This is kind of his suggestion. And he helped us with the color design. That's why the color actually looks great. I have to say, the colorist did a great job, Farah, but she did it like we got a lot of guidance. You know, it wasn't just put a good colorist on it. The art direction when you hire people is really important. They need to get the feedback to do their best work. Farah originally selected a light blue dress for the torch cover. And we were like, all right, let's just try red instead. And red looked a lot better. And then there were a lot of aspects of the color design of the interior pages. But I also added the Ashcan book. Oh, there you go. That's very nice. Yes, it is a good thing, Last Crusader. You and your dog endorsing me is good. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Javier is a great artist. And again, it's really the team. I really like collaborating with the team. You know, putting together a group and then everybody getting kind of psyched and doing their best work. Everybody gets to contribute. The Ashcan book for College of the Dead Graduation Day is a 100-page book with the full script and photo reference that we gave to Javier to draw, the artist. And we have rough layouts of everything that Javier did for approval that we then let Javier go and finish the artwork for. So that's another 100-page book with the full script, all the layouts. And that's also on the campaign as part of a set, but it's also available separately as an add-on if you just want to get that.
Where's the tier that has the art book, the Ashcan, and
a little lower? There's that one right above. It says complete set. There it is.
Okay, there it is. I was looking for that. There we go. That's one.
Yeah. The Ashcan, which is the 100-page book, which is really the making of the party attack cover, which is obviously the girl getting attacked by the zombies. That one's been the most popular of the covers, so I made that.
The one I got. It's the one I got. So
then you know it's the cool one,
right?
Absolutely, only the best for Drew. And the art book, which is another 260-page book, and it's one panel per page, and it's 8.5 by 8.5. It's black and white. Just looking around here somewhere, but in any event, yeah. So it's a very, very cool way to look at the work in progress art. The art book has the black and white art without any lettering on it at full like 8.5 by 8.5 size. It's on a glossy stock as well. It's a really, really, really pretty book. And we did those for book one, and I didn't originally offer them for book two, but people kept asking like, hey, you did this on book one, are you going to do it on book two? So I added them. And then all of these things are also available as add-ons. So for anybody that got, let's say, this full set of the Ashcan, the regular book, and the art book, if they're like, you know what, I really like the Ashcan, let me get the Ashcan for number one as well. You can add that on as a separate item, a checkout, and there's no extra shipping on that, which is cool.
That's a good deal. I mean, a lot of people, you know, they don't realize they can just do an add-on and then, you know, save themselves on some shipping. You know, it's shipping is like the downfall to buying things online like this, because you know it's expensive to ship comics. It's not you can just throw it in a bag and send it on, you know, like a shirt or something. So
yeah, there'll be more work on my side in terms of like the order processing part, because like there are going to be many different things. Like we got to make sure this person gets this and that person gets that, but it's worth it because this way we save a little shipping and someone extra is able to get, you know, an extra book that they otherwise, you know, would be a little bit too expensive to get. And we probably will have another variant come out before the end of the campaign. If we do, then that'll also be available for free shipping for anyone who's already backed the campaign. They're going to get a secret perk link so that they're not paying again for the shipping. So just trying to get everybody, you know, the best deal we possibly can when they're backing these books.
And the covers have girls with well endowed features.
Yeah, that didn't just fall off the turnip truck. That wasn't easy to do because Javier's from Spain, so his women tend to be more flat chested. So it took like 2 revisions to get like bigger boobs.
I understand my illustrator is from Italy, and most of the women that you know that frequent in the Milan area, you know, that kind of stuff are. You know, they're super hot, they're super fit, but they have, you know, like B cups and small C's. So.
Yeah, no, in comics we wanna get those numbers up.
Yeah,
bigger the better. The boys depend on us.
Triple E, you know, triple E.
Hail to the Boner King, even though he's not here.
Yep. An extra
He
half.
was here earlier.
He's here in spirit.
Yep, he flew by before.
Okay.
Yeah, we will take the booby prize. We will take the booby prize on these.
The booby prize. That
Yeah.
That it's I always thought it was funny that phrase, the booby prize, because again, the booby prize comes from the phrase where it's, you're a booby, you're an idiot, you know what I mean? And then obviously boobies make men idiots, and that's why they're called boobies, I always thought that was funny.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I never looked into it that deeply.
Yeah.
I was satisfied.
You were satisfied. They're just big and they're luscious, and you can grab them. That's all.
There you go. And they sell comics.
And they do sell comics. They sell just about everything. Let me just tell you. Yeah,
Everybody likes boobies.
Just about everything that's for sale or has been for sale at one point or another has boobies have been a factor in making that sale.
Absolutely.
My YouTube channel has been going well. I got up to 957 subs thanks to Drew's fantastic show. So
I'm glad we got you some more subs. That's awesome, man.
Absolutely. Awesome. So definitely people can sub me at AdamPostSpeaks.com. I do say a lot more things other than this. I talk a lot about the comic book industry. I published a lot of comic books over the years, over the last 30 years, about 1,000 or more independent comics. And, you see a lot when you do that. You definitely get a different perspective on making comic books. And what I always say is, like, Comicsgate books are pretty amazing in that people's first comics are pretty damn professional. They're really, really excellent in Comicsgate. People work really hard at it, and it really shows. Because my first comics were really not all that great. But I was 15, didn't know what the hell I was doing. So there you go. But everybody else, that was my excuse then. But people in Comicsgate don't seem to need a lot of excuses. They just make good comics.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about Comicsgate is that it's a community of other creators, so that there's feedback and input and resources, so that tends to be...
we learn from each other's successes, and we especially learn from each other's mistakes.
For sure. Yep.
Well, hopefully we learn from each other's mistakes.
I'm going to do a cover like this, I think, on College of Dead Spring Break. I was just kind of laying out ideas for covers. I'm like, well, I know I'm going to definitely do a bikini girl. And I don't know that we're going to have a bikini girl attacked by zombies in the story, but I don't think I could do badly with making one cover that's sort of this theme. Like, it's a girl getting attacked by zombies, even if it's out of continuity, as long as she's beautiful, who would not like that?
I don't know. I mean, there's always there's always like other people like RGE. He experimented with having like a sexy cover, but then like what he calls his titty tentacle tier, because he has like the sexy cover that is available only on that tier without the top, so it's like totally topless. I mean, it seems, but at Comicsgate, we don't have to worry about being on the shelves in every situation, right? So if you don't have to worry about being on a shelf, you can pretty much break the rules however you want.
Yeah, and you can also take a bit more time to work those pages, the way you actually want them.
Yeah, Sim just let us all know that he works a lot of time, spends a lot of time working those pages with the girls' boobies on them.
Yeah, of course. You got to get those nips right.
Yeah, man. Simon has his priorities correct. You can be sure of that.
I will definitely take it under advisement and give it consideration. I can't do nudity in College of the Dead, just as it's not I don't think it's a fit probably for the brand, but it's a nice thing to think about.
What, horror without boobs?
Horror without boobs. Now, you can have boobs, but maybe not on the cover.
Horror doesn't boobs for the win.
I agree. 100%.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing. Everybody likes to look at naked women, and that includes women. That includes gay women. That includes bi women. That includes straight women. Everybody likes boobs.
Can't go wrong.
No, you really can't. You really can't.
Give it to Peter. Load him up with Peter.
Hail, Peter. Man, what Peter is doing is amazing. Before I was talking about the saluting the ladies of Comicsgate, I forgot to mention Carla, so apologies to Carla. We're seeing so many great books.
Carla's
we're seeing
great.
Real diversity.
Carla is a hard worker too.
You know what? I talk about Carla on almost every stream that I'm on. Like literally almost every. It's always appropriate to talk about Carla. Why? Is because she and her husband came out with Grim Reaper 1, did less than $1,800 on it, had a family tragedy with that fire. shipped her book. I assume it was on time. I tell people it was on time. It probably was.
It was.
And then they came back exactly the way you're supposed to with a sequel, with no complaints about anything, just happy to be part of the community, happy to be part of the network, and did more than twice the dollars on the second book. Double her numbers, and they're still going on it. And I asked them, they're going to do a number 3. So like that's what we should. We all look at Ethan and we say, okay, he's doing 600,000 or whatever he's doing on his latest campaign, and that's great. But his situation is unique, and he has a gigantic platform.
Of course.
But for anybody else to come in and just make it happen small, make the connections, build your relationships within the community, within the network, get on channels. They're hosting people. I was on their channel this was last week because the days keep going into one into another. But I was on their channel last week. Her husband asked great interview questions. He's like, it was a very interesting interview, went well, had a lot of fun with them. And, they're getting around. And, the next campaign on number 3, I'm sure their numbers are going to go up. I don't see why they'd go down. So it's not like in the regular comic book industry where you publish number 1 and then you come back and publish number 2 and people have lost interest. It's like, no, at number 1, Tungsten is wondering if I'm okay. I am a little bit tired, Tungsten. I have to admit it. It does happen sometimes. Even I get tired sometimes. I'm okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'll be just fine. But anyway, no, it's fantastic to see. Like, yeah, you get book 2 out. Book 2 can do better than book 1. I'm doing, I don't need to. It'd be great if I wind up doing what I do 10,000 last time. I do 50,000 this time at the full end of College of the Dead 2, which I'll sell College of the Dead 2 until we get to College of the Dead 3. So at least probably through August, actually. But if we just do whatever, where we're at now, it's a great accomplishment. I'm thrilled to be where we're at now at College of the Dead. I'm really happy. The best thing, guys, is when you ship the book and then, people have read it and they start like, that you see the pictures on Twitter, but then you also see them like asking you about the story and the characters, and they're really interested in what you're doing. You guys have both.
That is the greatest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it's like, wow, you've really got something here. People are really interested. And I kind of found myself like, because I didn't create every one of the characters and I collaborated on College of the Dead. So when I had some ideas about this one character, Haley, who's going to be featured, this irresponsible, beautiful girl featured in College of the Dead 1 and 2, and she's going to feature a lot in College of the Dead 3. I was discussing with Stefan, like, does she have like a crush on this other character? Does she like that guy, Brendan? Because they seemed like they were kind of talking, and I was discussing the character with somebody else, and somebody does production on the books, and she's like, I don't think she has a crush on him. I think she was just saying, such and such because she was concerned about it. I'm like, well, they really become real people when they're written well, so it's what a privilege to publish comics.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And that's why I always try to encourage people when they're going through rough periods or they're having difficulty putting their book together or they're difficulty having marketing it. During those tough times, you have to remind yourself, we're making comic books. How awesome is that? And never lose sight of that. Never lose sight of the fact that, we're so privileged to be doing what we're doing.
It is. It's a lucky thing to be able to do. And also, whatever your problem is, most of us have answers for it. The only thing is sometimes there's some stuff we can't fix. If you promise to pay your artists more than is reasonable to match your budget, if you're promising something that's like 3 times the rate that you can't promise things you can't afford. So you got to know your numbers up front. You got to be reasonable on what your goal is. You can't just say that you want $25,000 because you have in mind, let's say that you're going to do this and that with the books, whatever. Like, you got to keep your campaigns reasonable. $3,000 as a fixed goal is really where most campaigns should start, maximum, unless you have a big other audience. And it doesn't matter if it's going to cost you a lot more money to produce the book. As we've realized, like, your job is to produce the book. So you got to figure your numbers out. You produce it, you market it. You can sell more after the campaign is over. Build an audience. Maybe you don't make a profit on the first book, but if you deliver what you promise and you do it right, and you take advice from your friends in the Comicsgate network, the Comicsgate network. I like that. In the Comicsgate network, then you'll do better on the second one. And also, all of us see effort. I was talking about Comicsgate with someone that didn't understand it the other day, and just another industry person. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I'm publishing. So if I told people, listen, I'm hitting this number, but I'm in a little trouble, I need to hit a higher number. I've got like 30 guys that are going to be trying to help me hit that number.
Right.
My problem is their problem.
Right.
I'm sure you guys feel the same way as well. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a miracle or something, but it does mean like, yeah, there's going to be guys coming out of the woodwork to make sure that you get done what you need to get done. It works on spite, but it also works on that does work, but it's not just the spite. It's like, no, we all want to make sure like that Ethan beats his goal, or whatever it is he's trying to do, because everyone's succeeding, it's all a platform for all of us to succeed more.
Spite can only get you so far. It's all about producing a quality book. See, I like to think of CG as a meritocracy. Of course.
Wait. I have a question though. Spite can actually get you somewhere?
Well, yeah, we've seen that happen. But like, for instance, like Charlie was saying before, like, man, I need to create my YouTube channel. I need to,
Right. There's just a quick thing about Charlie. There's nobody that doesn't like Charlie's London, right?
Nobody.
I've never every now and then she's like, well, I don't know if I offended people. Like, no one has ever had a bad thought or comment or anything about Charlie's London. I can't say that about me. Yeah. I don't know if I can say about any of the rest of us, but you know,
it's like when I first started YouTubing, boy, it was really difficult and I felt awkward and everything. All Charlie has to do is go on different channels. Gradually, it gets easier. People, God bless them. People like Mandy, people like Drew. So many people that I can't name all of them off the top of my head that have been absolutely fantastic about promoting other creators.
Oh, Vinny,
having us on. Vinny,
yeah.
My graded point 5 peeps.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. And they'll be on. They'll be on tomorrow. By the way, everybody who's listening, come back tomorrow night. We're gonna have graded point 5 as our guest tomorrow. We're gonna be talking.
Oh yeah, I love them. But yeah, it's all for one for all. And to me, the most exciting thing is seeing people like my graded point 5 peeps going, gee, all those people that we've had on our channel that are making comics? I bet we could do that. Right? So we're the opposite of the mainstream comic book industry.
It's almost like if you could do a YouTube show and you have 1,000 subs, especially, you can make comics. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, and they're not doing it themselves either. And what I'm starting to see is some comic people, like people producing comics, hooking up with others who have YouTube shows.
Oh, Raging Golden Eagle! Oh my God! Look at what he's accomplished. Devil.
Yeah, they're doing it on their own. But what I mean, he's even like Peregrine is a project that they're doing with Scott from Door Kickers. So Scott had put together Door Kickers first, and now he's kind of working with them to at graded point 5 to collaborate on doing a project. So it's almost enough that if you know how to do one or the other, you can find somebody to work with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, by building a team of people like that are all engaged in Comicsgate, you have a much better chance of having a success on your first book out, because of first of all, it's not Scott's first book, right? So he's got some experience in the market, but then you have 4 people from the graded show, and 3 people who are actually engaged in it. Another, they have a great illustrator, and so you got a lot of people out there promoting. You got Scott, and you got 4 people from graded just pushing hard. Plus the community.
Yeah, they got a lot of friends.
When I went CG, I lost my creative team. Gone, ghosted me, right? But now I got a creative team again. Why? Through CG. Right. So
and this time your team will probably be even a little better. So
I think so too. I consider my upcoming team to be an upgrade.
Yeah, Preston Azevedo is a great illustrator. So.
Oh, I like just knowing him as a dude. By the way, go check out Doc Salem.
Yeah,
and back that's a great book. It deserves to be doing a lot better than it is.
Preston's great.
Oh, dude, have you seen his canvases? His canvases are
did.
out of this world.
Yeah,
I like
amazing.
he does something sometimes. You know, everybody has strengths and everybody has weaknesses somewhere too. But when you see like some of the stuff that he does occasionally, like there's a piece that jumps out that's like, holy crap, that's amazing work. All very good work, but occasionally he's got something that really stands out.
Oh my
I
goodness!
ought to tell him that more often because, yeah, he does some of his stuff is exceptional, and I almost think like there may be. He's the kind of guy where if you told him like, "Hey, that's extremely commercial," that thing that you're doing right there, that he could be like, "Oh, I could do more of that," like, because he's got the skill set. It's not by accident.
No,
it's just
no.
he works in variety of different ways.
Oh,
but you know who's like that? Narwhal as well. Like
Oh,
Narwhal
yeah.
has some very compelling work, but he recently did like on the War Campaign show. He did their Maddie character, and he's done some female characters. He could run a female franchise, like a female character, and do it like as a quarterly or whatever, twice annual graphic novel or whatnot.
He's
that would
very
have
versatile.
yeah, would have a very quick following and very successful.
He's very versatile, and that campaign of his, oh my god, looks. I mean, that book.
Foreign Agent.
Yes,
that's a lot of money for what looks like kind of an obscure small film.
Right.
You know, I mean, people could put a film out like that; it wouldn't have box office equivalent to
right.
his
Yeah.
Foreign Agent book.
And you know, there's like a beautiful simplicity to the line work and everything. God, that looks like such a great book. I can't wait to read that.
And
Another book I can't wait to read.
You know,
is Bloodhunt.
Narwhal is also a very clever person. So, you know, the writing on top of it is going to be just, you know,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
and he's very entertaining.
Within a comic.
Yeah. And then I just want to bring
Narwhal.
attention to this book. It's not going to be open forever. You know what I mean? Here, 95.10. Sim's been creeping up there to that 10K mark.
We just got Mike Green,
Peace out,
Michael Green
Michael.
here in the chat that just joined.
He's
joined
great.
The campaign.
Yeah.
So we just passed the 9,500.
Woohoo!
There you go.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Michael.
So there you go.
Enjoy your dinner, brother.
9,500, just less than $500 away. $490 away from that blessed 10K point. That 10K point is a measure of you know that a lot of people look at as like, you know, the point to where your book is a success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's technically a success if you can make it. You know what I mean? If you can make your book, it's a success.
But there are degrees of success.
Right.
And you know, when we make it to 10K, I'm
Yep.
gonna thank everybody by making a sketch card for every physical book backer.
See, now we should give him the 10K just so we can torture him with that, because you have to realize.
Well, I was about
that's
to
a lot
say,
of sketch cards.
Simon, you're gonna regret those words, brother.
Hey, I'm already
can't
doing.
wait.
I'm
Are you
already
already
doing
doing
40 to 60.
Oh,
No. I mean, like, I already have them. I'm gonna start them soon. It's probably gonna take me like a week. Not even.
Rock and roll, brother. Rock and roll. Congratulations on your success, man. You deserve it, and you are going to break into the 5-digit club and rock on and on.
Certainly hope so.
You will. We see it. We see it happening. Oh, well, my book's not a horror book. Why are we talking about my book?
Well, we're because
you're there.
Because you're here, and we're talking about comics, and we're preparing to wrap up. So we're just
I'm
going to talk
sorry.
about these campaigns real fast.
A giant monkey with giant guns. It's horrifying.
It's horrifying when he's pissed off at you. That's for sure.
You know, he doesn't need those guns. He can split you in two like a banana.
Oh well, there's a saloon brawl scene that's pretty intense.
Anyway, so this book is available. It is still campaign is still going. 19 days left. It is $53.93. I think this thing could do a lot better. I think we should check it out. If you haven't read the original, the first one, the Long Days of Vengeance, if you have not read that, then you need to, because that story is really good. It's heartwarming. It's heartfelt. It's well thought out. I've read it. I even though I read it on the toilet, it was still a great read.
Thanks, brother.
Just like in that horror movie.
Just like, except yeah, in a way, my cats are coming like zombies at me. I'm telling you.
Aw,
there you go.
It's demanding.
So, but yeah, this is definitely a $45 well spent to get that and the new ones you can read.
Lives up to its title. It's a high body count, and also I just want to say I know $35 for a trade paperback like seems like a lot, but you're not getting one comic, you're getting 6 comics. You're getting issues 1 through 6. And then, of course, if you buy it with the Big Gun Down, which is technically issue number 7, I knock $5 off the price. So you're getting a lot of comic book for your money.
Right. So everybody, check that out. Back Blood Hunt, back Six Gun Gorilla, and definitely do not forget to back College of the Dead graduation day. And look, there's been a markup. He's moved up
Went
a
up
little
a
bit.
little.
Hell
Thanks,
yeah.
little.
Awesome.
So, hey, so this is a good day. This is a good point, I think, to sign off.
Absolutely.
There's something that I'm doing to sign off now. I know that I normally don't press my own books. I know that.
No, tell us what you're working
You
on,
just pimped
Drew.
ours. You just pimped Six Gun
So
Gorilla.
go back
You gotta
Captain
pimp...
Love.
Yeah, then you gotta pimp Captain Love.
Okay, so I will pimp Captain Love since you guys
Please.
are pressuring me.
See, seriously, man. What the hell?
Yeah.
All right, so Captain Love,
It's hard
we
for
now
me.
have Rise of the Pirate King. You know, chapter 1. It's, you know, what we're doing here is something different. I wanted to point out that Rise of the Pirate King has surpassed the first book, Hero of the Cleansing. Hero of the Cleansing is right now in demand, still available at 8,055. Rise of the Pirate King is at 8,070. These two books are now in a race.
I told you.
And yeah, like if you don't want to wait for a book, you can go and get the first book, Hero of the Cleansing, that will ship tomorrow if you buy it today, so that everybody knows that.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, realize that now. You can get that book right now, and it'll ship out tomorrow.
Yeah, and if you're international, you'll get it in less than 2 weeks, and it's a great read.
Yeah,
and if you're in the States, hopefully the mail is still operating at optimum efficiency. I got my copy like in 2 or 3 days, so he gets that right out to you. And
2 to 9 days. Now, and I want to explain this one aspect of it. Now, I'm trying something new on my campaign that hasn't been tried yet before, because I'm doing 6 floppies as chapters. And then the final graphic novel is 7 campaigns. So I'm doing this, and this whole book is coming out in 7 campaigns, right? So I'm doing a campaign for each chapter. And then one of the things that you can get is you see here, the executive producer. You can be an executive producer. Now, this will get you the ability to basically crowdfund style, and you can get 7 deliveries. You will get 7 deliveries if you do this, executive producer. And also notice that domestic shipping is included. So if you do this, $100 includes 7 deliveries. And if you're at international, you get the discount that the domestic offers, and then you'll have to pay for the difference for the 7 deliveries until we can get something figured out where overseas is cheaper. This is, I'm sorry, but I can't afford to ship it for free. But you will get chapter 1, which is the Dark Figure. Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6. When each of those campaigns finish, you will be as an executive producer, you'll be the first on the list to get your book shipped out to you. And then when all those chapters are done, and we will have a final 7th campaign for Chapter 7, which will be the book in graphic novel format. And this is something that hasn't been tried, but we're going to try it. It looks like it's working so far. I've gotten 20 people who have backed the executive producer level here. I got a few that have backed it in the secret perks, actually more than a few. And then we also got the drawn in tier, which is the same thing as an executive producer, except you can also get drawn into the book for $75 more. And then we have the complete collectors. This also includes the Vinny variant cover, which is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. Hail to the Boner King, also known as the Fulfillment King.
Yes. Now this is Vinny Tartamella variant cover for the first book. So for Hero of the Cleansing, this will be a variant cover for that. And also I did a poll. The poll is still active, but it looks like that the popular consensus is that this is going to be a poster as a stretch goal for the campaign as a whole. So, like, I'm not saying any single campaign has to hit a certain point to get this. The 7 campaigns together are going to have a stretch goal that's going to be a poster delivered to the executive producers free of charge. If they can get to that stretch goal, which I will announce when I decide what it is. So,
by the way, I hate to interrupt you, Drew, but when I get Pizzade, I'm definitely going to back the executive producer tier, because that way I'm going to be giving less of my money to you.
This is true. The executive producer is the way to get it all the cheapest. This is no joke. If you want all 7 books, right? There is no cheaper way to get each and every one of those books than doing executive producer on this campaign. Because on the next campaign, I'm marking that up so that you have to pay a penalty somewhat for not getting it the first time. So
okay, so the executive producer will be on the next campaign as well.
Yes, I will be doing that for so if you can't afford it now and the campaign goes, it will be available later. But you're going to want to do it now because obviously you're going to want chapter 1 to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing. You don't have to wait for your love. We're going to constantly have a campaign going with, you know what I mean, with something that
Come get your love.
Well, now since he had to sing, I'm going to have to wrap us up tonight with this.
Yeah, let's hear Drew sing. I like this song.
Yes. It's stuck in my head.
Hi, my name is Drew Ish, and I'm the author of the Captain Love series. Well, I'll tell you all about the second book, Rise of the Pirate King. Yeah, that's the thing. And in this book, you're going to get everything that you would expect from Captain Love. Yeah, you bet. And I'm blessed enough to be able to use the same creative team. You know what I mean? If you feel like the universe is caving in, you need love to the rescue.
Love to the rescue.
And it seems like nothing will be right again. You need love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. All right now. Now, Captain Love is a space trucker and a former war hero. There is even a legend that he may be immortal. He is accompanied by Spade, who's a living AI. Yes, I said immortal. As he cannot die, and if it feels like the universe is caving in, you need love to the rescue.
Love to the rescue.
And it seems like nothing will be right again. You need love to the rescue. Yeah, love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. All right now. In this book, you'll get space pirates, sexy girls and science monks. There'll be bar fights, space battles, and a lot of awesome junk. There's nudity and violence and swearing within, so this book is mature. That means it's not made for children. And if it feels like the universe is caving in, there'll be love to the rescue. Yeah, and it seems like nothing will be right again. You need love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Thank you so much for your time. Please back Captain Love. The book is going to be awesome. Rise of the Pirate King is just the second in an adventure heading forward for many books. Thank you for your time.
Go get that love before it breaks your heart.
I want to say,
yeah, Simon.
Pretty good, Simon.
I want to say thank you to Adam for coming to join us tonight to talk zombies and share his book and stuff with us tonight. I hope you had a good time. Thank you to the chat, everybody who's in there. Thank you so much for coming. We have adored your presence. We want you to come back. We really dig tonight. This was a lot of fun. Everybody, thank you very much. We love you very much. Monday nights, 5:15 Pacific, 8:15 Eastern is when we do Horror Talk. Tomorrow night, we're going to have Graded Point 5 on indie comics interviews. Come and check it all out. It's going to be a blast. All right.
Thank you very much. To be on Mondays.
Have a good night, guys.
Peace, love, and soul. CG for life.
That was